Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Friday, January 26, 2017, 2018 even. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin was down 2.52% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 10,873, a high of 11,618, and a low of 10,372. That's $1 for 9,187 Satoshis. We've been watching the price all day with the expectations that the futures contract expired earlier this morning. Since that point, pretty much the low point here on the chart, we've seen some upward movement. It rose all the way up to 11,268 before falling back down to where we are right now at 10,879. We'd just like to ask everyone to give us a like and a share. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe down below. We're drinking coffee and making chair noises. About to check out the news. Missed Bitcoin? Here are 10 steps to mint some coin on the next. And this is really an important article, I think, for the mainstream media. A lot of the coverage that we're seeing feeds into the get rich quick mentality that we have in a lot of the new Bitcoiners and new altcoiners. Yes, it's sad you missed Bitcoin. Are you going to be able to instantly recreate that with some other coin? Probably not. You might get in on the early pump. You might even get some profit, but you don't know when the dump is. Someone else is going to dump on you. However, we're in a period of hysteria. So because of the hysteria, it might cause it to go up enough, and it might cause there to be enough liquidity that when you're ready to sell, there's actually people there to buy. But we're going to see a lot more of this. This is the mainstream media's main point going forward. You missed Bitcoin. Buy something else. And naturally, we've always seen this in the past. It's generally a mistake. One of the safest things you can do is buy Bitcoin. You think of Bitcoin as kind of the backbone of your investment, then you have all these other investments, but Bitcoin has become kind of stable, kind of secure. That's good for Bitcoin. This video game's difficulty rises and falls with the price of Bitcoin. Sounds interesting. We've also got Bitcoin prices rebound following possibly the largest doesn't really matter. And the report from Davos is clear. Bitcoin is not a currency, which again is a good thing for Bitcoin. We want people to get into this new idea of Bitcoin as a store of value. Then later, we'll move back towards Bitcoin being a currency once the Lightning Network and the second layer and even third layer has been developed. At this point, Bitcoin doesn't have the transaction capacity to be a currency for small amounts of money. It does still work for large amounts of money. That's why we need a layer 2 solution like the Lightning Network that'll allow us to send around, as unfortunate as it is, digital IOUs, which I know you're all upset. You're like, we hate IOUs. We hate the corrupt banking system. We know that it all started out with gold tickets. And instead of carrying around gold, you could just carry around gold tickets. But then they printed more gold tickets than they had gold. The classic story. But with Bitcoin and the Lightning Network, the tickets are actually tied to math. So I know that's not a complex solution and you could read more about it, but the basic idea is you can't just print more Bitcoin. And those are the Lightning token. There was no Lightning ICO. There's no one getting rich. It's open source software. Bitcoin regulation, how it would happen. And what could happen to you? I don't know. Once again, they're really excited to regulate everything. When you hear about something new and it's taking off and it's doing a really good job, like the internet, and you're like, wow, that's so exciting. We have all these great ideas that we're sharing together and we're really working together. Let's regulate that. Let's put some controls on it. But once again, this is a cyberpunk future. And they're just coming around to Bitcoin now. We talked about it years ago. These are all the same Same Bitcoin, same people, a lot of you. And we know it's already over. You can only regulate the point where fiat goes in and out of Bitcoin. And the problem is now is that everyone is putting their assets into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's being blown up. The second layer is being developed. The RSK smart contracts are being developed. The thing is, it's not staying the same. Everyone was like, Bitcoin's going to stay the same and let us win. That's not true. Bitcoin's just moving a little slowly because there's so much at stake. This airplane is constantly flying in the air, mid-air refueling. And if they want to improve it, they have to improve it in a much different way than you would improve an airplane on the ground or if you were building a new airplane. So, and finally, Bitcoin price seeks direction as the trading range narrows. Looks like a good article from CoinDesk. I like the thumbnail for this one from Money Magazine. These are some of the insane things that Bitcoin investors are saying. And you can see the bear trap and he's reaching for it. And they're saying at CoinDesk that Bcash could see a further dip from $1,500. Forbes is wondering if the price of Bitcoin will just keep dropping. And Google wants me to create an alert to stay up to date on Bitcoin. As expected, we've got our trading article from Omar Godpool over at CoinDesk. And he says that we had a bull reversal on Wednesday. Looked as though Bitcoin would break above $12,000. However, prices fell back to $10,889. The bulls made another attempt to regain lost glory, but faced rejection at $11,608. So we could see a drop to a 3-day low of 10,321. And we're going to look at the 4-hour chart. According to Coinbase, Bitcoin has created a symmetrical triangle comprising of two converging trend lines, representing a series of sequentially lower peaks and higher troughs. It's a trend continuation pattern, i.e., it usually ends with a big move in the direction of the original trend. There could be a big move to the downside, he's saying. Such a move would open to a slide to 5,232. Nevertheless, Bitcoin could revisit 9,000 following confirmation of a 4-hour close below the triangle. Could be exciting times coming up for Bitcoin. But let's check in with the chat. What's going on down here? Earlier in the chat, everyone was talking about Tether. You guys want to talk about Tether? BC Joey says Tether is traded for buy, then sell a lot of crypto. They won't quit until the printed Tether is fully backed, but greed will make them print more. And just a little history on Tether. Tether started out as real coin, the idea that you wanted a dollar pegged or a dollar backed coin, so that if you had money on an exchange and you wanted to pull out of not just Bitcoin, not just Ethereum or Litecoin, but you wanted to pull out of all cryptos altogether, you would put your money into Tether or into real coin. Tether, real coin. I hear that they're tied up with Bitfinex. The basic idea that I understood is that for every dollar in Tether, there would be a dollar in a bank account that would be owned by Bitfinex or perhaps the company that runs Tether, and that these dollars would match up with the Tethers. Now, that's not what I've been hearing lately. What I've been hearing lately is that towards the bottom of the Bitcoin run, at least we think it's the bottom now, the 9,222s, they started printing a lot of Tether. Now, we don't know. This could be trying to protect their investment. If Bitcoin goes down too much, they're holding too much Tether and they hold the dollars and somehow they have to margin, work that out, trade those for another. It could just be a smart move that they're going to have a lot more Tether when the price of Bitcoin goes up. But a lot of people are super curious about Tether. And I don't know about holding a lot of Tether long term. We always tell people not to hold their coins on exchanges. We just had a South Korean exchange get hacked. Should actually probably report on that. Just happens so frequently. But the problem with Tether is that your coins are always on an exchange. Even if you had your coin somewhere, the value of your coins is allegedly linked to the dollars in the account. So even if you had your Tether offline in a Tether wallet or something like that, if that even exists, you still wouldn't really be linked up to the value of your coin, because the value of your coin with Tether, at least from my basic understanding of it, is linked to that US dollar amount. They're also saying in the chat they don't know. They say that you can print as many Tether as you want. That could be a problem. A lot of altcoins have that problem, and a lot of them say that it's no problem and you can trust them and they won't print more. You can see how that goes. It's tough for Bitcoiners to do that. They don't have a lot of trust to begin with, and then you ask them to trust you more. But then again, these smart contract plays have gone up thousands of dollars a coin, and everyone's making money at least right now. And that's a good thing to remember, even as Bitcoin is down a little here. Take some profits. If you have something that's up by 10x or up by 20x or some kind of 1000x number, take 10% out, take a little bit of profits, maybe spread it into some other coins, diversify into crypto, or even, God forbid, diversify into the real economy. Get some real estate, get some stocks and bonds, whatever. I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't matter what you want to invest in. I'm just saying that diversification, investing in more than one thing, as not fun as it can be, is a little bit less exciting with these swings. You have less swings up and down when you're invested in multiple different types of things. Let's see. They're saying in the chat that Roger Ver is another problem. So we've got Tether, Roger Ver, Trust. They're saying it's okay to sell, indicating a bottom. Anyone can sell if you need to sell. I mean, I'm holding on to my Bitcoin, but I'm just saying in general, like if you have these altcoins and you're up 100x, you can realize some of those gains. It's nice to say you're a paper millionaire or a paper 5 millionaire, but actually realizing those gains is a complicated thing. And that's why even people in countries like the US, you have a choice of what state you want to live in. Some states have different laws. You might want to move. I don't know. There's all kinds of ideas here. They say Nvidia stock is mooning. Of course, the Bitcoin gets you so spoiled with these 20% swings and these 10% swings. In the stock market, if something goes up 3%, people lose their mind. Let's say this would a blocking of fiat to exchanges affect upside of price? Again, he's confused how all the FUD, Bcash, and exchange BS with Coinbase. How can this go up? I would say, yes, if the governments in a certain country, pick your country, Spain, if Spain decided tomorrow that they're not going to deal with this Bitcoin thing anymore, and all of the banks in Spain suddenly cannot connect to Coinbase, they can't connect to local Bitcoins, they can't connect to Gemini trading, no one, right? The banks are like, government says so, we're out. Now that opens up again. Now local Bitcoins, they probably want to block that, block the IPs. Then you've got stuff like the Mycelium wallet app, which has a decentralized market. And then finally what will happen is people will start going on Craigslist and they'll say something like, let's have a puppy meetup. Everyone bring your puppy. I've got a 0.01 puppy. Oh, really? I've got, 0.002. And they'll start trading puppies or something. So the people will get there, but they can make adoption of Bitcoin very difficult by limiting the fiat access to Bitcoin. Now, are we seeing that already through general incompetence and lack of preparation? In a lot of ways, yes. A lot of the exchanges, they didn't believe in Bitcoin the same way that a lot of other people did. So they didn't build it. They weren't ready with a stadium and all the stands and all the seats and everything. They're building it now. They're in a hurry. They know it's coming. They get it now. All the Bitcoin talk has finally seeped through their head with a clear reality. Things when you read things like the horror show situation at Coinbase support and just how many support people they need and how far behind they are and how no one understands Bitcoin by default. You have to explain it to them. You have to train them up. You have to imagine for these people, it's a drastic rush. And this is probably holding Bitcoin back. New buyers cannot reach the Bitcoin market because the exchanges have stopped taking new customers. I don't know which ones are still down, but I've heard that Bittrex was down for a little while, Coinbase was down for a little while. Other people have actually had to stop the flow of new accounts, which I know what you're saying. That's absolutely the same thing as stopping the flow of new money. And it is, and it slows it a little. But I think really what's going on here is the futures traders. These guys are way better traders than the Bitcoin traders. They pushed the price down from 17,000 to under 10,000 to clear their first one. We went through their second one this morning. Price is up a little bit, but still, I think if we want to look at what direction Bitcoin's going, they're deciding. They're deciding what direction Bitcoin's going, not us. So yeah, banks could definitely affect it. And if you'd like to ask your question in the chat right now, you could even use a super chat. Your chat would go above all the other chats. But let's see what they say down here. Let's see. Is Core too cautious with SegWit? Again, one of the things with Core is we just have to remember this airplane metaphor. The airplane's always flying around the earth, constantly refueling. So if you have a lot of money in Bitcoin and a lot of people are holding their private keys and they want it to keep working, you have to be really careful with it. And that's what I think the core developers believe. That's what I think they go by. And I think it hasn't pleased a lot of the CEOs, and the CEOs have different ideas. Their businesses depend on transactions. They want more transactions. Whereas I think the core developers, they're in a more censorship resistance, the fundamental principles of Bitcoin, and flying this goddamn airplane without landing. So saying in the chat, Bitcoin is about the utility, not the price. And I think that's really true. If you think about, is there any other way in the world that you can store value on a piece of paper or in a little USB drive, stick it somewhere, and it's gone? No one can take that money from you. If they find it and there's a key on it, it's encrypted, they could try to break the key. But if you have a good key, it's encrypted, it's yours forever. If you hide it somewhere, it's gone forever. There's never been money like that in the history of people. So, and the fact that it has a decreasing schedule of units is a whole nother thing that people don't really think about. It'd be one thing if we had Bitcoin, right? Imagine an alternate future where you just have credits. There's a credit company, they print the credits, they print them however they want, they change it every year. You're constantly not knowing, and you still, as an internet user, hold those credits because you can send them around the internet and they're really cool. But it wouldn't have the same economic system as Bitcoin. We're in a really unique situation where someone has not only built us an ability to send around those credits and a way to get past this idea that money has to be heavy or difficult to move or conspicuous when you go across a border. Someone has gotten rid of all that, and at the same time, they've linked it up with this economic system that we've never fully tested, right? All the libertarians, everyone's very pro and in favor of this deflationary currency and this deflationary model. And a lot of people think that it will protect work. Now, remember, when we're talking about models for the economy, we're mainly talking about growth. And we're talking about, does the economy need to grow? Does the economy not need to grow? What do you value the most? And maybe Bitcoin gives us another option than this growth economy, where we have to just keep paying back the money that we borrow over and over again. But again, what would we do? And this is going to come up. I think this might really could be a great time because of the new robots coming online, taking all of our jobs. And at the same time, there's money that you could invest in and have a little bit. And it kind of always goes up as the world adopts it. Now, I guess there's a problem at the top. When the world's completely adopted it, you're not going to get as much of a bump from Bitcoin. Right now, you're getting a ridiculous bump, right? Because Bitcoin's new and it's a crazy economy and no one really knows the value of it. It's being adopted, all these things. But in the future, with just the halvenings, with just the growth schedule, you'd see a small bump. I think more like a savings account, more like 1 to 2% a year, something like that. But just think about the alternatives, how they could have built this system. Could have been totally different. Okay, we're going to turn on the phone lines. We're looking for you to Skype us at World Crypto Network. All one word. We will Skype, make friends with you, and then we'll chat. No big whoop. Still got some power left in my headphones. Got them on. If you want to chat with us, you should probably put on headphones as well. Get a quiet room, get your phone, get a microphone, something like that. You can chat us now at World Crypto Network. Says in the chat, do you think Bernie has a chance? I think the election's over, man. Hate to say it. People always listen at 1.5x. That'll save you time, especially with these long shows. Do you think Bernie has a chance? No? More questions. Dan Williams says WCN is the real bit news. Thanks, Dan. And they're talking about General Electric. That's where Kurt Vonnegut used to work when he wrote the book Player Piano. And we do have some books today. If there were no calls, I did threaten to read books, and I got some ready. This is from Chris Anderson, former editor of Wired magazine. The book is called The Long Tail. As the LA Times critic Patrick Goldstein puts it, we are now a nation of niches. There are still blockbuster movies, hit TV shows, and top-selling CDs, but fewer events that capture the communal pop culture spirit. The action is everywhere, with the country watching cable shows or reading blogs that play to a specific audience. And this is an old book to be having this kind of idea. This is, I think, 2006 or something like that. But he's right on the money. We did kind of split up into little tribes because of the internet. 2006, I nailed that too. And we split up into different parts. He says later on, the arrival of TiVo and other DVRs amplified this dissolution of the water cooler effect by removing the time component as well. Today, even if people are watching the same shows, they might not be watching them in the same night or at the same time. Who wants to listen to all the morning after recaps of real timers? People who will ruin the surprise of shows you've yet to watch. That's why it's fun to hang out with you guys real time, right here in the chat. Like me to read from Jordan Peterson's new book, 12 Rules for Life. I don't have it yet. Guess I could try to get it on the Kindle. Heard good things, I suppose. I like his work generally. Let's see. This is a book that I didn't read, but I wanted for so long. Let's just get some little piece of it here. This book is called The Anarchist in the Library: How the Clash Between Freedom and Control is Hacking the Real World and Crashing the System, by Siva Vadihanisan. Said it wrong, but I'll try anyway. And he says right here, the triumph of centralized information control over openness and efficient short-term commercial gain over the long-term accumulation of knowledge is one of the major themes of this story, but it's not the only one. In many of the battles between openness and control of processes and information, over-control has had a perverse effect on commerce. Proprietary control of databases of essential genetic information, for instance, raised the specter of redundant, imperfect, competitive private databases, simultaneously lowering profits for companies that maintain them and raising transaction costs for companies that wish to use the information or develop drugs or therapies. For this reason, several pharmaceutical companies have joined with the Wellcome Trust in the United Kingdom to form a free database of SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms, a common DNA sequence variation among individuals that results from a single letter difference in the code. By identifying the SNPs, researchers might identify susceptibility to specific diseases that have genetic influences. Before the public SNP database obviated the gold rush to identify and patent hundreds of SNPs, lone companies were trying to hoard the information and patent the SNPs. Had they succeeded, research on particular SNPs would have been more expensive and potentially monopolistic. The public SNP database is a case in which companies heavily invested in a healthy and reliable patent system overtly avoided abuse of the system by investing in public domain information. They realized that they had too much control by too few was bad for business as well as the science. I think that paragraph, though chosen randomly, has a lot to do with Bitcoin as well. We're talking about control versus openness. We're talking about who should run, for instance, the development process of Bitcoin. Who should be in charge? Now, already we discussed earlier the importance of transactions. Some companies want Bitcoin to move around a lot. That's important to their business. It's having transactions, transaction fees. Other companies don't mind if Bitcoin moves around a lot. You can just store your funds. You don't have to worry about moving them so often. Looks like we're getting close on Skype. Got a call coming in. Let's see. My headphones are not working.
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air. How's it going?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. I'm just watching the show. Hi, Thomas.
Hello. Hey, welcome aboard. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia.
All right, and what's your name in Virginia?
Eric. My name's Eric.
All right, welcome aboard, Eric. Do you have an idea what should we talk about, or a comment on what we've been talking about?
You were just talking about a hack recently about the we just recently have a huge hack in Japan right now. I think Box Mining just covered it 2 hours ago from his video. About, I would say, 500 to 700 million dollars were lost right now in the Japanese exchange. So you guys probably want to check it out.
And this was the coin check hack where most of the money taken was XEM, right? New internet money.
And well, there was a large transfer for Ripple coin as well, but there's no report for Ripple right now as of yet. But
now, of course, the main question there is Ripple going to roll back the chain?
Well, I don't know. I don't invest in Ripple. I don't care about it anyway. It's a centralized coin, so it's against my belief. I'm not a Ripple person.
So this is the second large exchange hack for Japan. When I brought it up, it was actually Mt. Gox came up first. Do you think Japan is why is this happening to Japan?
Well, I think like any other, I don't think it's any different from, like, if you put it in exchange, it's going to get hacked one way or another. It's not a matter of when, like how, or like it's just a matter of time of when, So just put, like everybody, put it in your ledger, paper wallet, whatever, not on exchanges. So.
All right, so don't store your coins on exchanges. We keep getting lessons on this, but people keep getting punished, right?
Yeah. So I think that the market is not gonna go on a dip. There's because we came a long way from the time of Mt. Gox, because like our market cap is around 600 billion right now. So for a crypto market, the whole crypto market. So I don't think it's going to affect the market that much.
And there's more than one exchange. When we had Mt. Gox, that was pretty much all we had.
Exactly. So we have come a long way. So I mean, back when Mt. Gox was hit, of course it would crash the market because the market cap was like so small. Of course, right now it's a huge difference. We have exchanges coming about, especially I know that this is popular right now. The Robinhood exchange is
Sure.
going to be huge right now in
Well,
America.
Robinhood's an app on your phone, and you can use it to buy like a percent of a stock. You could buy like half a stock, and this was good
Exactly.
for people
So
that
they're
didn't
going
have
to
a lot of
accept
money. It's perfect for
cryptocurrencies now.
Bitcoin, right? Yeah.
We needed exchanges like this because we've been there. There, it seems like Coinbase has been the monopoly. The big ones. Coinbase and Gemini are the only ones which accept fiat crypto. But if he is part of the market, I want to see some competition, which is really good.
Well, it does sound like Robinhood's going to basically let you trade IOUs or chips that represent Bitcoin. I'm not sure if you
Oh,
can actually
really?
I'm not sure you can
Not
actually
real
withdraw.
cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I don't think you can withdraw your Bitcoin from Robinhood. We're gonna have to wait and see. But I
Because
think it's just
I
gonna
was
be
looking at it, and they said that it was going to be half and half, right? Half and they said that it was be cold storage and something, cold storage and also the one in the exchanges where they're going to store the people's cryptos. So we'll have to see. I'm very excited to see what's going to go on about it.
I
So
agree. I agree. And what I like about the Robinhood thing is the example it sets to the other exchanges like E-Trade. It's like, why aren't you offering these cryptocurrencies yet? Why are you denying your customers access to this great new market?
yeah, yeah. Which a lot. I think there are more exchanges like that. Uh, anyway, we'll see.
On
We'll,
this coin check thing, one last question before I let you go. Should they, I'm not sure they've announced, but should they print a token to pay back their customers?
um, no, because this is not actually because it'll just cause it more inflation. I mean, look back at Bitfinex, right? I think the USD tether started all because of one hack, right? I think if you look at the origins of how the tether was created, I think there was a huge hack on Bitfinex, and instead of being able to return it, they offered, I think, tether. I think that's how it
Well,
started.
they
Maybe
printed their own coin.
I'm not really sure.
They
I
printed a
have to
Bitfinex
back
coin.
again to be double check it. But anyway, now look how's this going. It's just creating some FUD right now because there's no accountability of like dollar to uh, cryptocurrency, the tether, the coin, 1-to-1 ratio. There's no accountability.
Sure, sure,
Even
and there's no reason to expect anything like that.
exactly. So even if there was accountability, right, the best of the best, right, that they really have, they want. Let's just be. I'm putting out a scenario that even if they have the dollar, right, you
Sure.
think the government is going to let that happen?
Oh, of
Get
course
the
not. I mean,
dollar?
I think the obvious jump for any Bitcoiner is, what if the government freezes the account that has the dollars for Tether in it?
Exactly, because they're using the dollar as a fractional, monetary system in a way because they're using dollar's name now. So, which is a total bad idea. It's just like one way or another, it could anything can happen, and we've seen it whenever we're trying to, especially going directly with the government.
Well,
So
this is another one of those things you never believe. You're always like, are people really out there holding their money in this? Did people really buy this such and such a scam? And you always think, no, no one did. But maybe somebody's listening out there who has thousands of dollars in Tether who maybe would rather hold them in another coin or sell them back to actual US dollars. I mean, take your options, you know.
uh, one thing good about it is that look at it. I look at it in a different way. Is at least it's not trying to do like a multi-marketing scheme or scam like BitConnect, where people are like advertising to buy more tether for exorbitant um, interest rates and stuff. This is much more, very more unique, I would say. So
this is funny because I don't really watch that much other crypto YouTubers. I try to focus on making my own videos.
yeah.
But I hear of all these other people that, pimped it and they had songs and dances and they really went all in. And it's not the first time. I always kind of, use the example of Amanda who liked Bitcoin until one day she got paid by Dash and she liked Dash. And there's a lot of other people that are like that who they get a bag full of name your altcoin and suddenly they become big promoters for name your altcoin. And I always think people won't do it and they'll be too smart for it. But that's never served me well. I thought people would be too smart to buy Ethereum, but it keeps going up, and I'm clearly wrong, at least in the short term on that one. And all these other ones now built on top of it. It's gotten so many layered with the potential scams. So
Well, it's not going to be the first, and it's not going to be the last. Trust me, we're going to see a lot more.
oh
And
yeah,
I
well we
think the
got
government is going to let more scams go through, and they're going to give this an excuse to start regulating the cryptocurrency market.
I did see an article this morning that the SEC is devoting a lot of resources to trying to track down these ICO scams, which basically does equal the playing field because it says that there must be good ICOs. So they're already starting at I think kind of a questionable starting position. But considering the size of the mess they have to clean up, what do you expect them to do? I don't know. So.
Yeah, I'm against regulation, which is right, but we're getting to the point where it's getting really overboard. So, I mean, as much as I hated to see government regulations, if there's one way or another, it's that they're going to start regulating it because this is going to be the future, and the government wants a piece of the cake. We got to
Sure.
give them something. There's no way they're going to avoid this and let it run because, if we really want the whole cryptocurrency market to succeed, that's what I think. That's my thoughts. I don't know how other people think. I would like to also hear your thoughts too, Thomas. I know a lot of people are against about government regulations and stuff, but you know,
Well, I'm impressed by your ability to move on this position. I think a lot of people, it's difficult to take on new ideas, and they get trapped into a thing where they say all government regulation is bad, and then you say, well, it can't be all bad. Seat belts are pretty good, speed limits, drawing lines down the center of roads, things like this are pretty good.
yeah,
But once you have that all or nothing philosophy, you can't do anything else with it. So.
exactly. So I would agree to some regulations, but in the end, I don't think they'll be able to control it. Like in the end, because like you can control Bitcoin. I don't because it's just there's no government about it. So
Well, and we just saw the corporations and the miners, they both worked together and they tried to control Bitcoin. They told everyone, this is what we're doing. Follow us, go this way. They even, created a copy and tried to steal the name, and it didn't work. Bitcoin didn't just follow them. Like, it was a good plan, and
I don't know what people are actually thinking with the B cash,
that's
talking about stealing the name, right?
it's pretty incredible, and especially I've had, not just new commenters. I see a lot of, like, new fake accounts, and I say, "Okay, it's a fake account," but I've seen old commenters, people who I know believe in Bitcoin, and they believe in the right thing, and they're good people, and they got caught up in this thing, and they now believe that doubling the block size forever is an acceptable scaling solution.
Yeah. For the people who got in here new, I really recommend try going watching about scaling the page, how Andreas Antonopoulos give his speech. You can probably try to see it in his Andreas Antonopoulos's YouTube, and he explains it very well. It's not about like how big the pipe is and start. We gotta be, much more innovative and think more of the big picture, which I totally agree. And people are just looking at the close-mindedness of creating this huge block sizes, which I don't agree either. So we'll see.
All right, well, thank you so much for your call. Check
Yes,
in
thank
again
you.
with us soon.
Long time listener to you, Thomas.
All right. Thanks so much, Eric. I will talk to you again soon. Let's see. We had another call while Eric was there. Let's see. Let's see. Call the next caller here. See what's going on. Hello, you're live on the World Crypto Network. Oh, worth a shot. No microphone. Got to be prepared. Give us a call back. No? No. All right. Let's see. Oh, he's calling back. Here we go. Caller, can you hear us?
I can hear you, yeah. Hi.
All right. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Michael, and I'm calling from north of Manchester in England.
All right. Great. Been to the Manchester airport, but not much further than that.
Yeah, where do we start?
Well, what's on your mind? Are you thinking about Tether or Bitcoin or maybe about regulation like the last caller?
Yeah, not really Tether, mainly Bitcoin, not really about regulation. I suppose really I'm more thinking about, how, nobody controls it, it evolves and the technology is evolving. Where is the marketing evolving? Because obviously, I walk around and I speak to people about Bitcoin, and in the UK, nobody really knows about Bitcoin. People know it's there, they've heard of it, but they don't really understand it. I think the rest of the world has got a step march on what we've got over here. So it's where there's a point of resource where people can be pointed to start to understand, because the key for Bitcoin's survival is people uptaking it. And it's okay for all the tech world to be talking about it, but where does the everyday man go and go, actually, I can understand? Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. I mean, we've talked about since the beginning that one of the problems with Bitcoin is that there isn't a centralized company and there isn't a centralized marketing plan, and there's no one working on it. For a long time, I was making videos on YouTube. Adam Levine was making audio files on Let's Talk Bitcoin, and that was it. That was all the people promoting Bitcoin daily that you could see, other than people working at companies and promoting their company and so forth. So there really isn't a marketing initiative. We did have a Bitcoin Foundation for a while, and they were okay. They kind of went to a lot of conventions and got their names on the conventions, but they also spent a lot of money. And at a certain point, there was no more money there. A lot of people have dreamed about a Bitcoin Foundation, say with 6,000 Bitcoins or something, with a ridiculous stack. And at one point, there was one called We Use Coins, and they made that We Use Coins video that everyone sees, the intro to Bitcoin video. But they lost all of their coins on an encrypted hard drive, and they're just gone. And they had a great amount of coins. So that was a painful story. So no Bitcoin marketing. It's all up to you. It's all up to me. Previous, our marketing was, you've heard of the Silk Road. You can buy drugs online. That's Bitcoin. And so that wasn't that great. You tell everybody you're into Bitcoin, they say, oh, what kind of drugs do you buy online? It kind of derails things. But you say now in the UK, people haven't heard of it, or what? Are you getting a different result?
They've heard of it, but nobody understands it. I think, you hear of South Korea where it's just mania.
Yeah.
We're very, the British were very staid, aren't we? We're, okay, Bitcoin, it's over there, and
Sure.
Other people are dealing with it. But I think, from my point of view, with Brexit and everything, we need to get a grip on things, because wealth is going to be transferred very quickly into cryptocurrency, and if we don't get on board, we're going to be falling behind the likes of America and Korea and Japan and stuff.
Well, do you think there's something different in the culture between South Korea and the UK, where maybe South Korea, they have this get rich quick gene, or they've activated it, where in the UK they just don't believe in anything. It has to be proven to them first.
Yeah, possibly. I think we're very, very staid in the UK, aren't we? There are people in cryptocurrency, and some people do move forward, but I don't think we've got the same oomph as other countries.
Mm.
But I think sometimes it's an educational point of view as well, which is why I'm sort of bringing this up, that the man on the street is not technically you know, not into the tech. It's use case basically, isn't it? And it's how, you know, they're asking for, you know, the local stores, you take Bitcoin. So raising the awareness and just people asking, are you doing this? Are you doing this? And then hopefully then enough people then start taking, you know, Bitcoin when, you know, Lightning Network gets going, and we can start really using it as a currency and a store of value at the same time. And people start to understand that. I think there is a problem getting into cryptocurrency, having to transfer your wealth into, you know, with Coinbase being pretty much the only, and local Bitcoins being the only way in. I think we need more ways in, easier ways in, where you could say, actually, I've got £100 in my account, I'm just going to turn it to Bitcoin. I think when those things start happening and people start understanding, I think that'll just be the driver to push it forward even further than it is now.
Well, one of the things I'm hoping comes forward with a new Robinhood installation is that they'll let you buy Bitcoin on a schedule. For a lot of people, they just want to buy it and they put all their money in right away. If you buy a little bit each week for a long time, that's really the way to buy Bitcoin. And especially you can invest like $10 a week, $100 a week. It doesn't have to be more money than you can lose. And
yeah,
I hope we have more tools to empower that. But yeah, it's definitely it's up to each one of these companies, and then the companies promote themselves for a little while, and Coinbase will do a little tour, or Bittylicious or some other company that wants to help you buy Bitcoin, and then they'll kind of fade back away because no one has the kind of marketing ability to just keep it going, or the kind of money to just keep it going with, you know, sponsorships or sporting events or anything like that. It's a primitive thing, and that's why in a lot of ways these altcoins get so much fuel and they get so much gas, because I remember looking at the Ethereum pre-sale site and it was really slick. They had animated graphics and countdown timers, and that's part of what turned me off from the project. I thought it should be a little more programmery, and it was a little slick. And that was also maybe what sold the project. When they went out there to all those slick people and they showed them the slick design, it caught right on. Yeah, Bitcoin doesn't have that.
No, I think we get, you know, we get easy to buy out. We get a bit of a fashion for people starting to take Bitcoin. I think when people go, I've got to, you know, it's like I've got to have a website. Every company at one point just started going, I don't know why, but I've got to have a website.
Yeah.
You know, so as soon as they say, I don't know why, but I've got to be able to take Bitcoin because I'm going to miss out trade if I don't take Bitcoin, because people will, there's a certain element will go somewhere else if I don't take Bitcoin. I think at that point, and it becomes easy then to acquire Bitcoin or even Litecoin or whatever, and quickly and easily pay for things. I think, you know, Bitcoin potentially for large transactions for like property, cars, etc., could be an absolutely awesome way of transferring money, especially if you're buying. I was buying a property in Spain years ago, and I remember trying to get, you know, 20 grand out to Spain. We didn't buy the property. I had to bring it back.
Sure.
And at one point, it seemed as though the bank account had been shut down. And I had like 20,000 quid just flying around in midair, not knowing where the hell it was. It was almost like transferring Bitcoin and having to wait, and it just waiting for that point at which you transfer, and then it appears on the chain. But it didn't appear for a couple of days, so it was quite a nervous time. Anyway, I'm waffling.
Well, that can be with the fiat system. You have no idea what's happening. At least with Bitcoin, you can trust it a little bit. But even then, if the network's too full, if your fees are too low, they're not going to send. But yeah, this is the recurring problem with Bitcoin. We don't know how to get new people into it. And I think another problem, and you know, we're all kind of at fault for this, but Bitcoin's a Swiss Army knife. It has a lot of different features and it does a lot of different things. And when we were opening it up in the beginning, no one knew how to sell this thing. So I think a lot of people sold it on cheap payments, which was only possible when Bitcoin was unpopular. And the problem now is Bitcoin's too popular and the payments cost too much, and we look like jerks for selling cheap payments. That's why in a lot of ways, the promotional tactic that I'm suggesting these days is store of value. Which is again confusing to people because they think they're putting their money into nothingness, into this, you know, ether, the old word ether. And, you know, in a way they are, but in another way, with the way that the units decrease and the deflationary schedule, you're actually putting your money into the safest investment, something that unlike the US dollar, won't be inflated. There won't be more dollars printed, making your dollars useless. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks so much for the call. Give us a call again soon.
No, nice to speak to you, and hello world. One thing I think about cryptocurrency, the way I look at it, is it proves that, you know, the average person around the world, you put them together in a room, they just get on and get on with it. So all the politicians, you know, faffing around at the top end, and, you know, put normal people together, and they'll just get on with it and sort it and be friends, won't they?
I think so. All the Bitcoiners I've met have all been cool, and even the Bcashers and the Ethereum people that might not agree with me, they've all been really cool.
Cool.
Thanks so much for your call. And I think another point of what the caller is talking about is that Bitcoin is a trust system, where the really difficult things, if you and I were to get together and want to form a group, if we wanted to agree on a currency and agree on how we're going to spend it, we have to trust each other, and Bitcoin takes care of that trust. Got another call coming in. How's it going, caller? You're live on the World Crypto Network.
G'day, Thomas. How you going, mate?
Hey, how's it going? Where are you calling from? What's your name?
I'm calling from Australia. It's Jamie.
All right. Welcome aboard, Jamie. How's it going?
Yeah, cool, man. Thanks for answering a question earlier on. Just got a quick one, man. I'm just thinking about, like, you know, the Lightning Network and everything, you know, like that's going to be the solution to scaling and everything for Bitcoin. But just with all the FUD and all that type of stuff going on with, you know, Bcash and all the, you know, all the crypto exchanges getting hacks and all that type of stuff, do you think that it's going to be a little bit hard for people to grasp the concept of the Lightning Network in light of the damage that's already been caused by, like, the split off of Bcash, saying that they're the real Bitcoin and all that type of stuff? I mean, it's kind of hard. I'm a believer in Bitcoin, but I seem to think that, you know, they might be having some points in terms of, you know, persuading the general users that, you know, maybe they're a better solution than, you know, the whole Lightning Network and the SegWit sort of.
Well, we did have Vinny Lingham go on CNBC recently, and I didn't watch it, but I heard that he pumped Bcash, and he said that he saw a real future for it. And they're kind of trying to sell themselves into the role that we used to see Litecoin as. Litecoin is this cheaper version of Bitcoin, a little bit faster, a little bit more units, but otherwise about the same. It has a creator. Bitcoin doesn't have a creator. We don't know who it is. But the problem is the technology. When you said that Lightning Network is the scaling solution for Bitcoin, I really think it's the scaling solution for all of the altcoins that can adopt SegWit. So Lightning Network or Litecoin, several other of the altcoins, not Bcash, have said that they're going to adopt SegWit. And by adopting SegWit, it gets the ability for them to do a second layer and a third layer and a fourth layer. And I really do think it just comes down to the argument of, how do you think we should scale Bitcoin? You think that we should double the blocks forever? Doesn't that mean that the nodes are going to get very large and you'll have to pay a lot of money to run a node? And that means there'll be less nodes, and then they'll be easier to censor Bitcoin. In addition to the just general idea of doubling forever doesn't make any sense. Everyone knows you're not going to have a big enough hard drive at a certain point. You're not going to be able to send the blocks across the network fast enough. It just doesn't make any technical sense. And that's all the Bcashers have. And I hear all these upset things because they're mad because I'm calling it Bcash or whatever it is. But other than that, do they have a technical leg to stand on their plan to endlessly double the block size?
Right.
And I don't know how we're going to explain that to normal people. They can barely understand Bitcoin, let alone the Lightning Network. I think it's going to be, what we're going to need is an app where you don't even know. And you just get some money in there, and pretty soon you're sending it around, and you have no idea that it's a digital IOU or it's being passed through a network of other users or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the nodes, Thomas, like that's sort of how I'm trying to get my head around it. Like I appreciate, like, the Lightning Network and what it's going to do, and watch a lot of stuff on YouTube about, you know, with the Jack, I think it's Jack Mallers, is it?
Sure.
It's done the Zap wallet and all that type of stuff. And I think it's
Yeah.
really cool. But opening up nodes, is that, like, going to be convoluted for, like, the general user? Like, the general user, how are they going to open up nodes, so to speak, to actually make this more usable? Like, if it's going to cost people money, like that's like the bit of the propaganda that's, I think, sort of going on, sort of saying, oh, opening up a node is actually quite cheap. It's not as expensive as what some say it is. Is that going to be simplified in a lot of ways?
Well, remember, at the basic idea here, what we're saying is that you're going to take your, say, like $100 in Bitcoin, and you're going to transfer it from the Bitcoin network to the Lightning network. At that point, your $100 are going to be split up and kind of become these digital IOUs. And once they're on the Lightning network, you can send them to other people. You can send them to Starbucks, whatever. And when they're ready to cash out, they can cash out just the little sliver of your IOU that they have, right?
Right. So you got to put money into your channel, so to speak. But
so people have to think of it like spending money, and they'll be, you know, in the interface, you have to think of it as like funding your account. And all of these ideas are old, and it's not really an account, and it's not really these things, but still, I think that's the way that people are going to understand it, is that you'll go up to your account, you put $100 in, that's your spending money. You spend that on coffee till it's gone. If at some point you want to cash out your spending money, you pay a fee to go back to Bitcoin. Now, how do we determine what the cost of these Bitcoin fees will be? And this is where you have to get into the future here. And a lot of people can't do this, but you have to model the future. And you say, right now, let's say we have lots of transactions. The network is very busy. If you took a lot of those transactions, move them to the Lightning network, the network would be less busy. The fee would go down. Unless people just come in and buy up Bitcoin and they just want to use the network. So things like that, that's where we start to get into, I'm not sure anyone's really talked about this, but I think it's right there on the table, technically speaking. Layer 3, layer 4. The reason that the Lightning Network as an idea for scaling is so good is because it really is an idea for scaling. And when we're talking about onboarding all the people in the world, and that's really complicated, and Visa and American Express, these other things, we don't like them, but they work really well. They do a really good job with their system. And if we're going to bring all those people on, we're going to need more layers. So maybe you won't have Lightning tokens go straight to Bitcoin. Maybe you'll have layer 2 or layer 3 Lightning tokens. Maybe you'll buy those directly from a company and never even own any
smart people out there, man. This is a cool world we're in.
That's what I think. I think that's where we got to go with it. And that's why, you know, doubling the blocks forever, that doesn't make any sense, but adding more layers, I don't see a reason why not. I mean, I guess it gets really complicated from a code perspective, but that would be somebody else's problem. From a philosophy perspective, I don't see why it's a problem.
Yeah, cool, man. Thanks, Thomas, for your time, man.
Cool. Thanks so much for the call. And they're saying in the chat that it's not an IOU, and it's a multi-sig transaction that's modified by both parties. And I agree. IOU is not the best word for it, but it is the best explanation of it. And maybe it's a digital IOU or a cryptographic IOU, some kind of more heft to it. Because I agree, it is linked into things. You can't just print them. IOUs, you know, imply that you could just write it down on a piece of paper. But they say selling Lightning Network without opening a channel is not possible. Well, they don't have layer 3 yet. When they get layer 3, I'm sure they'll work that out. But let's see. We just talked to Jamie. Let's see about connecting our next guy here. Get another call here on the show. If you don't call us, we call you. Let's see. We've got another caller here. Oh, call back. Hello, how's it going? You're live on the World Crypto Network. Can we hear you? Okay, give us a call back. We can't hear you right now. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network.
Hello.
Hey, got to turn down your radio. Tell us, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Joe from Idaho.
All right. How's it going, Joe? Any thoughts on Bitcoin or Tether? Maybe regulation?
Not really. I was wondering about what was your thoughts on Stellar, and do you think it would take over Ethereum?
Stellar. Well, I mean, that's the real thing. When they stop saying things are going to take over Bitcoin, they start saying that they're going to take over Ethereum. So I have heard about Stellar. There's quite a lot about Stellar in the news. It was created by Jeb McCaleb, the same guy that created Ripple and the same guy that created Mt. Gox. So he's kind of well known for moving from project to project, similar to that Dan Larimer guy that created BitShares and then created Steemit, and now he's creating, I think, EOS, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that one. So there's a lot of projects out there like Stellar. Stellar used to be called Lumens, or now it's called Lumens, or it used to be called Stellar. It's going up quite a lot. What I've heard in San Francisco, this was pretty public. Stellar is going to be a platform for ICOs. Then I heard that there's a very good ICO called Mobius. It's supposed to be a way to write code to trade cryptocurrencies or something like that, write code that allows you to interact with cryptocurrencies. And it's a good crew. So that for that reason, I took an interest in Stellar. So it might go up more price-wise. I have no idea. I don't know about overtaking Ethereum. Could it overtake it?
I also heard the same thing, that there's ICOs coming, but I also heard through word of mouth yesterday that there's a couple ICOs that decided to pick Stellar over Ethereum for the simple fact that when they came out with CryptoKitties, it didn't do too well as far as the network goes.
Sure.
I guess people are kind of getting scared of that. You know, can it handle something harder? You know.
Well, and we also saw the Kin guys with the Kick app and Kin. They announced they were going to try to move back towards Bitcoin or maybe Lightning Network or Rootstock, and Civic as well. Currently an ERC token, but they want to move back towards Bitcoin as well. The CryptoKitties thing was really a wake up for a lot of people. I know we've always been kind of critical about Ethereum here, and scaling it was one of the problems. You have this Turing complete world computer and it can run all these contracts, and sure, they put the gas in, so there's a limit. You have to pay to run the contracts, but people were willing to pay for those kitties.
Yes, they were.
And again, we almost had that idea. We were really close, I think, at it was called Curio Cards, and they're still working on it at My Curio Cards. And those were just like baseball cards that were linked to a token, so they were cryptographically proven unique, and you could trade them around. And I thought it was a fun idea, and there's a lot of cool ideas you could do with that. But what the CryptoKitties did with the evolutionary kitties, they really got to the uniqueness of their tokens, and I think that's one of the reasons that it took off so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about Stellar. It's definitely one I keep an eye on. I met some of the people at the San Francisco Bitcoin meetup, and they told me all kinds of good things about how it's going to help people. And I don't know about that. It's always questionable when you hear that. But again, there are so many altcoins out there, and lately, as much as I don't know if I believe in all of them, I tell everyone to put $100 in anything that comes their way. So just, put $10, spread your money out, diversify, see what happens, and obviously hold some Bitcoin too. So
I agree with you on that one. I also got into Cardano too, because it also seems like something like, similar to them too. That might be a competition in the future.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are into these platform coins, things like Lisk, and other just, you got EOS, I guess, is a platform. Neo is a platform. I think IOTA is a platform. Everything's a platform. So all right, well, thanks so much for your call.
Thank you.
All right, so the call lines are open. You can Skype us at World Crypto Network, all one word. Getting another call here. Oh, something went wrong. Can't call that person. All right. Just go ahead and give us a call. We're opening it up. Here we go. Hello, caller. You're on the air. How's it going? Oh, it seemed like the sound stopped working. Oh.
Hello.
Hello, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Haydar, and I'm calling from Turkey. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm doing good too. First of all, I like your streams, and I like live streams of you. Thank
Aw,
you for sharing your knowledge.
thanks, man.
Yeah, I have just one question. I asked today earlier, but I just want your opinion too.
Okay.
You know, the Bitcoin has huge fees and takes too much time to send transactions, and a lot of the companies just saying that they are just canceling the acceptance of Bitcoin. So I recently used like I started in mining like a month ago, and I knew the cryptocurrencies since 2012, but I didn't see its future. I was a dumb person.
Well, no, I don't think anybody sees it the first time. I think everybody I know, they see it, they think there's something wrong with it, and they have to come back later. So,
Yeah, like it was just like back then mining was not profitable, and it was making like I was making lose instead of profit.
sure, sure.
I'm a simple like I have just one computer. I'm just using it my home, so it wasn't profitable for me. But nowadays, a lot of the altcoins has a lot of potential for growth and gives great amount of income.
Hmm.
And I used Dogecoin recently to sell with like turn it to fiat
Sure.
for my mining profit, and
Mhm.
it was very very helpful for me to see it because it was like in seconds, you know, and
Yeah.
I got my money out of this out of the market in just seconds, and I just paid like 15 cent or something, and it was amazing experience for me. And now I am just advertising all the cryptocurrencies around me. So it was just a eye opener for me. And my question is, why should people use Bitcoin when there's a lot of good altcoins to use? Like,
Okay.
what is the
Okay.
use case of Bitcoin for now?
All right. So basically, what I'd say is back in the day, we used to do the same thing with Litecoin. If you wanted to move your money between exchanges, you sell your Bitcoin, buy Litecoin, move the Litecoin over, buy Bitcoin or Dogecoin or whatever you wanted on the other end. And I would agree this works. But the problem is it works most of the time. So definitely in the short term, sending your mining profits, Litecoin, Dogecoin, these other networks are pretty secure. They're pretty good, but every once in a while, think about Ethereum and the crypto kitties. The network will be completely jammed, and you won't be able to send anything. And that's actually what's happening with Bitcoin right now. Is that Bitcoin is so popular that the old functions that you're using, the sending around small amounts of money, not really doable on the Bitcoin system right now. So I would say for Bitcoin, think of it more as a store of value, like a gold. So if you have Bitcoin that's mined and it's sent to some wallet, maybe it's a paper wallet or a Trezor or Ledger, you could just leave it there. And in 2 or 3 years, there's a good chance if you hold that, that might pay for your mining operation. We used to have miners back in the day, and kind of on purpose, kind of by accident, we left a little bit of Bitcoin on one of the computers. And recently we had a party where we broke open the computer and the Bitcoin was still there and the Bitcoin network still worked and we were able to send our money out. Now, for some of the other coins we had, like Mega Coin or Feather Coin or Earth Coin, we had California Coin, we had whatever the Iceland Coin, Aurora Coin. For coins like those in the future, and I don't know which one is going to go like Aurora Coin, the network might not be there. There might not be anyone to mine your transaction, and then your funds would really get stuck. So that's one of the things is like, yeah, Litecoin's good for now. Dogecoin's probably good, maybe. But Bitcoin, is kind of this, super highway that's always there. So right now, try to use it as a store of value. And that's generally what the Lightning Network is trying to fix, is that too many people are using Bitcoin to send small transactions. And if we move that up to a second layer, we can reduce the congestion on the first layer.
Yeah, but there's another question pops up when we talk about Lightning Network, and people, I don't know if it's a FUD or not, but people are saying that centralize the Bitcoin and it will centralize it, and obviously centralizing the cryptocurrency is not a good thing. So what do you want to say about that?
Well, I disagree with the FUD, basically. And again, the other problem is, what's the alternative? If the alternative is this coin that allows ASIC boost, that the only thing you can buy in it is miners from Antminer, and if the only people who seem to support it seem to be paid by Antminer or in the employ of Roger Ver, there's a whole problem there. But going back to the Lightning Network, current problem, Bitcoin itself is centralized, right? We have centralized Bitcoin mining in China, which means when China freaks out and shuts off exchanges or shuts off the power, everyone else freaks out. The whole market can't take it. What we really need is Bitcoin miners in lots of different countries near geothermal and hydro power plants taking up the energy. And in some ways, this recent crisis has helped Bitcoin. So that's one thing. Now, the second thing about Bitcoin Lightning Network, is it centralized? Not exactly, but I do see their complaints. I'm not saying they have no complaints. Lightning Network, as it's been described to me, will likely be a hub and spoke model. So in that way, I could send my money from person to person to person, but that's probably going to be inconvenient. What's probably going to be more convenient is to send it person to person to kind of a holding company, and then the holding company will send it to the next person. Now, I think there's going to be multiple holding companies. There's going to be competition for these holding companies. Maybe even some normal people might become holding companies if they run Lightning nodes, if they hold a bunch of Lightning IOUs or digital checks. I'm sorry.
Sure,
go ahead.
Is this Lightning Network something similar to masternodes?
Masternodes, not. I don't know if it's exactly like that. I think masternodes could actually set the rules. If you have like 1,000 Dash coin or Dark coin, you can run a master node, and then together the master nodes agree on the rules. I'm pretty sure that the Lightning people can only agree on transferring money, and that they transfer money from one person to one person. And if the money gets there, they all get a little piece of the reward.
Yeah. So like now I changed my mind and thinking like, why don't people think masternodes as centralization instead of Lightning Network, right?
Well, I think masternodes are. I think they're more centralized than the Lightning Network.
Yeah,
yeah.
I understand now. Thank you for enlightening me.
Well, very cool. And yeah, check it out. The other thing is, they're just now starting to have apps where we can test the Lightning Network and people can try it out. So, excuse me. Yeah, I really do think it's a different paradigm. It's something you have to think about. And much like Bitcoin, we all didn't understand Bitcoin right away. I don't think that we're going to understand the Lightning Network right away. So
I understand.
All right. Well,
I just want to say something. I'm sorry if my English is not good. I'm sorry if I disturb anyone. Thank you for responding my questions. Have a nice stream.
Well, thank you so much for your call. And believe me, your English is much better than my Turkish.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, it's really exciting to talk to people all over the world here. Everybody's getting into Bitcoin. Everybody has questions. And I think we can all work together to try to understand these questions. And yeah, I think it's a really good point we brought up there, saying that the Lightning Network can be confusing. And it's okay to be confused by the Lightning Network. I don't think that doubling the block size forever is confusing. And I don't want to say that's a down point, because there can be simple and beautiful, elegant solutions. But more often than not, the solution itself is confusing. And if it's too simple, that might be a big red flag saying, hey, it really is too simple. So if you'd like to call us, you could call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. And if you're watching at home, be sure to give us a thumbs up. The more thumbs up that we get, the more YouTube will recommend this video to other people, and the more they might check it out. So if you'd like to join the chat, call us up. See if there's anybody else. Let's see. Mike was muted. Assad might be available. We're going to give him a call. Hello, can you hear us? Oh, we're still on.
Hey, Thomas.
Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Assad, and Thomas, I love you. I've been listening to you religiously almost every day. You're the one that helps keep me on top of the Bitcoin world and the cryptocurrency world, and I just love everything you do. So
well, it's been fun for me too. It's great to. I was just gonna read this myself if I didn't read it to you guys, so it's better to share.
But you know, my entire education experience has been in healthcare, and ever since I got bit by the crypto bug, I've always been thinking about how blockchain technology can improve our United States healthcare system. And I believe that it is possible. There's so much redundancy, so much transactional inefficiencies existent in today's world. I believe that Bitcoin can actually make that a lot cheaper, a lot easier to do, since we can transact peer-to-peer. Wouldn't you think?
Oh, I think so as well. I think recently I went to like a small health clinic, and my parents believed that they had my records. I didn't. I don't believe they had a single record on me. I walked in off the face of the earth, and they tried to fix me. And I wish they had my records. I wish.
That is not surprising.
Yeah,
that is not surprising at all. It is so common. I would not be surprised if 1 in 3 people in the world or in the United States did not have their entire medical record. And that is because from your juvenile age, it's really your parents' responsibility to keep their records on hand. And as life goes on and we move around about in life, it's so easy to lose track of your paper record. And that's the current state of healthcare. Majority of it is all paper-based. We're so behind in healthcare. It's really sad to see it in such a state. But with Bitcoin, with blockchain technology, all this can be digitally stored, easy to move all your files around, no matter if you're one that uses healthcare minimally or uses healthcare quite a lot, especially as you grow older. It is a fact that you will need to use healthcare to sustain your own life, and in such a manner that would be convenient for you and helps you live happily.
Well, don't I know it? And it's so strange how little focus we actually do on our health. I probably know more about my fantasy baseball team or my fantasy football team. I know and when it happens, you're like, oh, it's time to read about this condition. Oh, and it's time to read all the WebMD reports, and you start to realize how far behind you are and how little you know about being a doctor. And it gets pretty scary pretty fast.
I'm actually on the road to develop such a technology using blockchain to really make it a lot easier, a lot more efficient. I just read this prototype called MEDREC by Andrew Lippman and a bunch of other folks at MIT, and they were using Ethereum blockchain to power the MEDREC prototype. It's supposed to centralize your health record into your possession. So if you're the patient, you'll have your medical record on hand, and you can share your record with any provider you'd like, utilizing Ethereum. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it sounds great. I think it's going to be hard to get a lot of these providers to accept it as an outside and as a shared system. That's where it really comes off as the difficulty, where sure, Kaiser could make their own system and Blue Cross could make their own system, and they don't have to talk to each other, and maybe they'd like it better that way because then they could own. One of the big things about these for me when we talk about blockchains, and a friend of mine's actually in the health industry. I don't know if he's doing it anymore, but he was doing blockchain health for a while, and they're pitching a lot of the same ideas that you're talking about. For me, it's always important that there's a token of monetary value on the chain.
Right.
For these health records chains, it starts to get really complicated where you really have to trust the system and you have to trust the people that are building it in the same way that I trust the Bitcoin programmers, because basically you're going to say, okay, take my most private of data, encrypt it. I have to trust that has to work. Then only let me have access. Don't let the tool accidentally steal access or give access to other people, and then to hook it up on this whole network. So I do think it's going to come, but I think it's going to take a lot of things to come together to do it just right. And then the problem is Kaiser and Blue Cross, all these other companies have to come together and agree to share their records.
That shouldn't be too much of an issue if whichever company will be the node with the 51% hash rate, they can ensure data security. And not only that, they can ensure that all the transaction that needs to be done for the patient to utilize healthcare will be done, such as communicating with the insurance regarding authorization so they can get as appropriate coverage as they can get from their stingy healthcare company. And also, of course, receive that emergency services they need when they're in time of crisis. What do you think about the company being 51% hash rate? If they can.
Well, I think the main problem comes in is that whatever company it is, whether it's like Kaiser or whatever, they're going to want to own all the tokens, and they're going to want to own all the medical tokens, whatever you call them, so that they don't have to pay for them, right? And if then they can own all the tokens, maybe they can be the one to sell it to Blue Cross or Blue Shield. In the same way, if you were a third party and you're coming in saying, hey, we own all the tokens, and now we're going to sell them to Kaiser and to Blue Cross and Blue Shield. You see what I'm saying? It's difficult. It practically, I don't know if it's possible in the setup phase, but it practically needs to be like a nonprofit. I don't know if that's going to get you the best developers who are going to keep your records safe, but you can see how it's just so complicated to get it right, and then to have all these different parties work together because they all have their own interests. In the same way, if you try to make a government coin to make all the governments work together, they would much rather print the crypto rubles and own them for themselves, right?
Is it possible to fork into a blockchain?
I mean, they could make a copy where everyone would already. Well, the main thing is like the Bitcoin forks. If you just imagine everyone's keys like a bunch of padlocks on a chain, and if you have the key on one network, you have the key on the other network. So they just come in and make a copy of the chain, and now your keys work on both chains. So
I think it really depends on the coding and how to utilize cryptography to encode all your token, I guess.
Yeah, I think it would be frustrating, but the way I would see starting on it is as an open source project, to define what a medical record is, to define how it can be encrypted, to do all these basic things, and then to do it in the sunshine, where you're saying we're making a protocol for everyone, and then try to get some kind of an industry group going where you're going to say Kaiser, Blue Cross, all these people are going to all donate to this open source idea to build this foundation to protect everyone's medical records, because they can't trust each other. So
right, that's why I want to learn cryptography so that I can actually start working on these open projects, especially on Bitcoin. There's so much potential. As long as the internet exists, Bitcoin will exist.
Well, and I do think cryptography and coding is the thing to learn. That's the skill to have, or even just the ability to understand it and to be able to philosophize what it is.
All right, awesome, Thomas. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really do appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your call. Oops, sorry, I cut you off. But yeah, we're going to be right back on the World Crypto Network. Listen to this. Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is Thursday, January 25th, 2018. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin was down 1.18% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 11,270, a high of 11,702, and a low of 10,963. That's $1 for 8,892 Satoshis. Stock trading app Robinhood to launch Bitcoin Ethereum trading in 5 states. The long-awaited competition for Coinbase seems to be here in the form of the stock trading app Robinhood. I've never tried Robinhood myself, but people say that you can buy parts of a stock. So Robinhood forwards and explains the idea that Coinbase can't seem to explain, the idea that you can buy part of a Bitcoin. Sure, you could buy part of an Ethereum, but you could also buy part of a Bitcoin. So it's very exciting news for Bitcoin. Everyone in the mainstream media is celebrating this. They're all seeing this as a new way for investors to invest in Bitcoin. No word yet what the actual interface or configuration will be like. Main question is, can you withdraw your Bitcoin from Robinhood app? Is this just trading Bitcoin tokens, or is it more? We don't know. Watching the viewer count go up, everyone give us a thumbs up and a share. That'll help more people find the show. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin explains why he's really looking closely at Bitcoin. His number one focus, whether it be digital currencies or Bitcoin or other things, is to make sure that they're not used for illicit activities, Mnuchin told CNBC. The IMF, the International Monetary Funds, Christian Lagarde says the agency has already started monitoring and surveilling and analyzing the risks associated with the development of cryptocurrencies and the potential benefits out of it. Oh, didn't expect that part at the end. I thought it was mainly risks and fears. Could there be potential benefits in Bitcoin other than making all the early adopters rich? Could there be something more? Bitcoin bull reversal cited, but momentum proves weak. We need more buyers. That's right. Coinbase analysis shows that the bull reversal is confirmed, but we're not seeing the support. The 5-day moving average and 10-day moving average carry a bearish bias and could limit the upside in Bitcoin. A bullish doji reversal occurs when a doji candle, as seen on Tuesday, is followed by a positive price action, yesterday's 5% gain. So the short-term outlook is bullish, but no one knows. So why shouldn't I buy Bitcoin? That's a good question. Bitcoin bounces back. Will it last? Media is just so full of questions these days. Bitcoin is gambling and regulations are needed. Canada central bank head says. There's just so much news today. Remember when there was no news at all and we used to cover this store takes Bitcoin, this gas station in Wyoming takes Bitcoin? Every day, CNBC, Fortune magazine, big time news. Bitcoin's a star. And once again, same thing. Canada, you can't regulate Bitcoin. You can regulate the part where fiat goes in and out of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin just keeps operating like a vacuum cleaner, sucking in all of the world's assets, bringing doom and gloom for everyone who works on Wall Street or in a bank. This is the MP3. This is your computer moment. The computer is a copy machine, and it can do what you do better. This is what the average Bitcoin owner looks like. That's right, Richard Branson. I'm surprised they don't have the picture of the average Bitcoin owner on the back of a jet ski with a girl on his back. That's what they all look like. But as the article says, the average Bitcoiner, 71% male, 58% young, between the ages of 18 and 34 years old. Damn, I'm old. Why did they buy Bitcoin? A combination of a lack of trust and an opportunity for return. Why not get both? Political philosophy and great riches. Hooray for Bitcoin. A swarm of derivative traders will soon have access to pure Bitcoin. I like the way it says pure, uncut Bitcoin. Ooh, nasty. Bitcoin boom part 2. Prices could triple by the year's end. Woo! More outlandish claims from the mainstream media as the battle to say who can predict the highest price for Bitcoin continues. Remember, Mad Bitcoins has already predicted the price of infinity. That is to say, Bitcoin will suck in all of the world's wealth. All of it. And finally, congratulations to Bitcoin developer Jimmy Song, friend of the show, who is now at Blockchain Capital. Jimmy Song joins Brock Pierce and Jeremy Gardner, also friends of the World Crypto Network, at Blockchain Capital. I also got a great tour from Blockchain Capital when I was in San Francisco. So shout out to them and shout out to Jimmy Song. Thanks so much for watching Today in Bitcoin. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode, and then we'll be gathering up the Bitcoin group if I can find them. Be sure to subscribe if it's your first time. Give us a thumbs up and a share. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye. And we're back live. I could hear myself, but then it went away. All right, we're back live. It's Friday, January 26th at 2:56 p.m. You're catching the Bitcoin Talk Show. We've got a £5 super chat from BTC Socialist. He says, replace the state with Bitcoin. I wonder how we could do that. Let's go down through the chat, see what we're talking about. What is SegWit? There's an echo. Hopefully there's no echo now, but I don't know. You'll have to let me know. People are making coffee. It's good to take a break every once in a while. You could also store your data on a USB drive. You could have a paper wallet. You could have a computer, stuff like that. So, and again, I see some cryptocurrency addresses in the chat. I would disagree with that. I'd say you shouldn't do that. If you want to do that, you should make your art. Whatever your art is, drawing, photography, video, radio, talking, something like that. Make your art, put your QR code, put your Bitcoin address on your art, put your art on the internet, and then try to earn money that way. That way you can just get better at art and then get more money rather than this begging thing, which is just a numbers game. Not that different from the art game, though, maybe. Let's see. They say someday you'll be able to store Bcash on Bitcoin. Don't know about that. Centralized server is possible. His art is demanding Bitcoin donations. He wants haikus about Bitcoin right now. They should store the Bitcoin blockchain in the Bcash blockchain. Let's see. Has we gone through all the stories yet? I don't think so. Do have, oh, it's an alarm for 3 p.m. Supposed to be another show on the World Crypto Network, but people said it was already going, so I don't know. Like it says here, due to illness, scheduling, and travel, today's episode of the Bitcoin group will likely be Bitcoin Talk Show instead. You're experiencing it now, live. You can call us at Skype, World Crypto Network. We're going to turn that call lines back on really soon. But first, 250,000 people got in line for Robinhood's new crypto trading future in the first 8 hours alone. If we didn't have the attention of every fintech and financial services firm, we do now. And that's true. When something is so incredibly popular like Bitcoin is right now, everyone wants to get into it. We hope to see E-Trade, Charles Schwab, Goldman Sachs, every other online trading firm should be adding Bitcoin soon with the Robinhood success. The Lightning Network now has 5 times more nodes and 9 times more channels than it had a week ago. There are now 252 nodes, up 500% in a week, 742 channels, up 900% in a week, and a capacity of $39,617. We're noticing some arguments in the chat about the word Bcash. And the problem with this argument is multifold. To begin with, it's a double standard, right? Roger goes around calling Bitcoin SegWit coin, but at the same time, he expects everyone to call his Bcash Bitcoin Cash, right? So that's a double standard. You got to work through that. That's a mental problem. The second problem is that it's shorter, right? Everything on the internet, especially in this chat, is about being shorter, right? People call me Tom because it's shorter, right? Or MB instead of typing mad Bitcoins. It's not an insult to call someone MB or Raj or Tom. It's shorter, right? So if you're on the argument of you should always use my full name, you're always going to sound like a jerk. The third problem is that you don't get the name Bitcoin, right? You want to be called Bitcoin Cash because you want to be in all the Google searches for the word Bitcoin. Why don't you just call it Bcash? Then you don't get the Bitcoin name. But that's your whole point, is you're trying to fake people out and get into Bcash and get in it instead of Bitcoin. And it doesn't work if you say Bitcoin versus Bcash, or if you say Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash, right? Obviously, you've implied something by stealing the brand name. A lot of people think that the two coins are connected in some way, which they aren't, except for when you forked and you copied all of Bitcoin's code. And now your work, you don't have any developers of your own. You don't have any new ideas. You're constantly porting over the core developer's work to your coin. So you have a lot of technical problems. Nobody can explain to me how you're going to keep doubling the block size forever until you get enough transactions for Visa. So that's what I would work on, not defending the word Bcash. I would work on defending the idea of how you're going to keep adding lanes to your road until it gets big enough to compete with Visa. And if it can't, then your scaling solution fails and you lose the argument. That's a lot of ones. 11111.1. Elites hate Bitcoin. That means you should love it. This is a good point. Everyone should look into this. Who's fighting against Bitcoin? Who's creating their own coin, calling it Bcash, selling their miners in only Bcash, using a coin that allows them to use the ASIC boost 30% advantage? It's like Lenin said, you look for the person who benefits, right? Cui bono, right? Who benefits? And when you look at Bcash, you got a problem because you got Jihan Wu, you got Roger Ver benefiting. So you've gone from having something like Satoshi Nakamoto, a mysterious creator who, like Prometheus, steals fire from the gods and gives it to man, or you have a bunch of clowns stealing the Bitcoin name, changing the logo to point it to the left, and changing the color to green. It's embarrassing, right? Your project is embarrassing. How many times can you double the block size before you break all the nodes? Then you don't have enough nodes. Now I can censor your Bitcoin Cash transactions by only attacking a small number of nodes. It's not a good plan. It's technically a bad plan. It's not about the name. It's about the plan. We learned a lot about Ethereum, and now it's time to start smart contracts on the most secure blockchain in the world, RSK. Smart. All right, Booger's guy says he's lazy. Okay, well, if you're lazy, you should love the name Bcash. It's shorter. You type less. It's going to look good on hats. It's going to look good on t-shirts. The only thing it's not going to do is get you included in the argument with Bitcoin. Which you don't get to be, because you're not Bitcoin. So you're not Satoshi Nakamoto. So you don't get to be Bitcoin. Say Bcash 5 times in a row, and a herd of brain-dead Bcash zombies will fill your Twitter with shit so dumb it hurts. There it is. Just happened to be there. I was told there would be a bull run because of the options expiration. I guess this about sums it up. Option contracts expiring. We got option contracts expiring. See, nobody cares. And nobody did care. The price of Bitcoin is still in the 11,000 to 10,000 range, currently at 10,823. As always, if you like this show, you can donate to the QR code on your screen right now. It's got SegWit and everything ready to go. If you don't want to donate with Bitcoin, you could always subscribe with your credit card at patreon.com/madbitcoins, where we're celebrating our 100th Patreon. Thank you so much for your support. More than 101 Patreons. And Stand Up PDX says WCN and R Bitcoin are the ultimate shills when you go into your anti-Bcash tirades. All right, ring us up, man. Where is the point of doubling the block size forever, making the nodes too big? Address our intellectual argument. Let's see what else he's got. SegWit was soft forks after agreement so they could avoid consensus. Quick making excuses for what Core has done to Bitcoin. Once again, Bitcoin is a software project. It was never going to remain the same, libertarians. Never. And the reason it was so cheap to use is because no one was using it. When people started using it, it started to have a scaling problem. This means that too many people were using it and they needed a way to expand the network. The problem with your solution is that it's not intellectual. Doubling the blocks forever doesn't work. The nodes get too big. There's less nodes. Nodes are more expensive. Please address these intellectual arguments. Let's see what we got. All right. Nothing. Nothing. All right. Let's see, because coffee transactions are the food of the future. 7 long. Ah, so he's got nothing. So much for that, huh? Where is it? Nothing. He's got nothing. Ah, 1 terabyte blocks are all we need. Here we go. 1 terabyte blocks. How big would the nodes be? How many nodes would there be? If you want to donate to WikiLeaks and they shut down your nodes, you can't use the network. That doesn't scale. Do you understand? It doesn't scale. The problem with your scaling solution is it doesn't scale. That's why it was rejected. It doesn't scale, right? We can talk about this forever. 1 terabyte blocks. I know. That's a solution. And again, that just sticks all of your old Bitcoin that's all stuck now forever. Can you imagine downloading the blockchain to get your old Bitcoin off your old mining computer and you find out that they've upgraded the blocks to 1 terabyte blocks? Oh, thanks, guys. You know, I'm sure in 1985 you can just find a terabyte anywhere, but you know, in the future it's kind of hard to come by. Here it is. The simple nodes will be simple and cheap, which again, like, what if your 1 terabyte blocks fill up? That's the problem here. You don't have a complex solution. I don't see anything here. Let's see. Could SegWit be mandatory in a soft fork? We kind of went through that. It was the UASF. Nodes are not really important. Miners are. Well, that sounds like you're talking from the miner's perspective, as if the miners created their own coin with an ASIC booth 30% advantage over all the other miners. Then they were the only ones to back it, the only ones to use it, the only ones to sell a product in it, the only ones presumably to pay an army of trolls to continue trolling about Bcash. And the only single point they seem to have is they don't like abbreviations. They don't like it when you call their coin a name, but they're fine to call everyone else SegWit coin. So just not seeing it. Terabyte blocks. Yeah, Lightning nodes. That's what we're talking about. We've got a great $10 donation from Bob McCall. Thanks so much, Bob. He says, thanks, Thomas. Love your work. We need Lightning nodes setup resources. And just suggest everyone check out the most recent episode of the Bitcoin News Show with the Vortex. He had one of the developers on from the Lightning Network from Blockstream. And I believe they did demo the Lightning Network. I haven't gotten a chance to set it out, check it out yet, or to set up my own, but they are testing the Lightning Network on the real network and on the test network, so anyone could try it out. It's not quite mainstream yet, but hopefully closer and closer, right? All right, with Lightning, doesn't that undermine the balance in a decentralized currency by diminishing or eliminating the miners? No, I just don't believe that. I believe there's probably a belief they'd worry they'd get less fees. The blocks are already reducing. They're getting less Bitcoin every time because of things like the halvening. But no, I don't think there's a reason for that. I think that it actually gives us a more decentralized currency on a second layer above Bitcoin. And I do believe there's going to be more layers. I believe if you can't handle the Lightning Network, you're not going to like layer 3, layer 4, layer 5. These are, which again, like, look at the current situation with traffic. I lived in California a long time, right? I remember the old freeways and I remember the new freeways. All they did was add 3 or 4 more lanes on the sides of it. And in a lot of places, they can't add any more lanes because there's houses next to the freeway. This did not solve the traffic problem. People came, they filled up the lanes. There's more people here. There's more traffic. What we need is a better solution. And that's what SegWit and the Lightning Network, layer 2, layer 3, etc. technologies gave us, is a way to build layers on top of our roads instead of just widening the roads forever, which you know what that looks like. The whole world looks like a road. We built layers on top of our roads. So now we can fit more people on the same road. That's just smart, right? If your plan is just double it forever, it's not smart, right? You need to think about it some more. And it's great you found a company to support you, to back your plan. That doesn't mean that it's any smarter, right? The company has their own interests. You're not seeing how Satoshi's original vision and all the other things that you're spouting fit into the interests of this company. Maybe you're getting paid by them. Respect, whatever. Get some money. But otherwise, I don't understand how you can keep this idea in your head that it's okay to endlessly double the block size, because I just can't see it. So thanks so much for Al Nixon for donating looks like a British pound. Thanks so much. And we're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here. We've just been chatting with the chat, getting back into it, but we're going to reopen the Skype. So you can Skype us at World Crypto Network. Probably do about 27 more minutes of this. Keep this going until about 3:30 Pacific time. If you've been trying to Skype us, we've been offline, but we're back online right now. Wants to know if we're enjoying Skype. It's been okay. Skype's all right. But we are accepting. Looks like we have a call from Big. We're going to give Big a call back here. Nope, not there right now, but you can probably give us a call back. Let's see. It's like most of these people we've talked to already, but if you'd like to give us a call, here we go. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network.
Yo, what's up?
All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Chings. This is Big Chings. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How's it going?
Yeah, it's Big Chings Locahodian, man. I'm calling in from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I listen to your show a lot, man. I've been listening to your, watching your show since like March or something. And man, it's great to get on your show. I was having a hard time with this Skype. I just barely got all my computers back set up. Now I'm back from California, but I'm trying to start a show too. So don't forget to hit me up too. But yeah, man, what's good, man? I had some questions for you. I forgot. I got so scrambled to Skype. But what's up, brother? It's good to say what's up to you.
Well, it's good to have you here. We've also got a hello from Tijuana, from our Baja California neighbors. Andre sent us a chat. But it's great you're starting a show. There's a lot more shows than there used to be. Add Bitcoin, send your email.
I was gonna start a show right away, but I thought I kind of was like, you know what? I don't even know what's going on, but I've been studying this like day in and day out. I kind of like dropped everything I was doing, became some kind of a hermit. I got like 6 computers set up around me. I'm like, okay, now I know what I'm talking about, and I think I know what I'm talking about just as much as everyone else. And so I was like, okay, you know, like. Do you got any advice for me as far as just starting a show? I was wondering how long you've been doing your show.
Oh, well, I started doing the Mad Bitcoin show in April of 2013, and I started the World Crypto Network in 2014. So it's been about 4 or 5 years of doing shows. But I would say what's the most important thing is just to speak from your heart and to your audience. So for me, I tried to convince other people like me. I quoted history books and I looked at the past and I talked about monetary arguments and things that I found convincing. In the same way, you need to speak kind of to your community and find the things that they're going to find convincing and find the analogies that work for them. And that's what everyone can add to this conversation, is a new way of just talking about it and just spread the word.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing kind of like a inverse show, like a backward show, almost where I'm like asking questions and throwing out questions and then seeing what all the people say, along with the fact that I watch like all kinds of crypto shows. I just sit there all day watching all these shows and everything, and I'm trying to trade. I'm into the mining. I'm into all this stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? I think it'd be good if there was a, maybe, like I said, someone from my standpoint where I've been into a year, I'm like really hardcore into it. I have a pretty good idea what's going on, but yet, you know, nothing, you know, respect to the OGs. What else can I say? Guys like you that are, you know, just been doing this forever. I'm like, man, I wish I was in this longer. I just didn't even know about it, man. But once I found out, I got instantly in it and bought some Bitcoins and came up quite a bit. I've made quite a bit of money. I've lost a lot of money with cryptos. I've been going crazy lately with stuff. It's just nuts.
Well, I think it's really exciting to have more people into Bitcoin and different people to sell it different ways and to speak to their communities. There was a guy, Amos, or Famous Amos. You know, he spoke in a totally different dialect than I spoke in, and he spoke to a totally different group of people. And I thought that was really exciting because I don't know how to reach those people. And I want everybody into Bitcoin. I want everyone to be rewarded and to celebrate the idea behind this thing. And the more it goes, the better it turns out, right?
Yeah, I kind of like first heard about it like on some news thing on my Apple phone, and then you know, that's when I like kind of was like, well, I don't know, where's the best place to go learn? And I was like, YouTube. And so I like got on YouTube, you know, and found like Adam Meister and all these different guys, Crypto Nick, you name it. And it was because I just you know, just found out about Steam It and DTube and D Sound. And of course, I'm a rapper. You know, I got 10 albums out. I've been wanting to do a YouTube channel, but I'm so crazy. I think they demonetize every single thing I ever put up. I think they, you know, I just kind of like was like, I see what they do to my friends, you know, Skate TV Channel 253 and all that. I was like, you know what? This DTube thing is, it's like, it sounds like the answer to like all, it sounds like, you know, I've been getting ripped off by a lot of the industry and stuff. And I was, you know, if I could just put all my music on D Sound and DTube, it's like DTube is the new YouTube and D Sound is like the new, what is SoundCloud. And it's like, and then you get all paid in Steam It, and it could get out of control. I mean, the money some people are already making now, it's the very beginning. I'm just like, wait a second, this is nuts.
Well, I think that's the thing to do, is just to get out there and publish your albums and publish your ideas and see how it goes. I like Steam It and I, you know, DTube, these other ideas, they're pretty good. But what I like about YouTube is YouTube has the viewers, right? Like a lot of the viewers right now, if people give us a thumbs up and a share, are just people who are floating along and they're like, I want to watch something live. You know, maybe they don't even care that much about Bitcoin. They're just like, oh, this show is live, so I'll watch it. You don't get a lot of that on these new systems, so that can be a problem.
Yeah, I thought about that too, and what I decided was, you know what, it kind of like YouTube's just not paying anything anymore, so you don't need that many viewers to make probably a lot more money on DTube. And so, I mean, I'm about to give it a try. You know, I just opened up an account. I put like one little high post. I got like 2 people saw it or something. So, I mean, I'm starting from super humble because nobody really knows who I am. I'm always doing so many different things. You know, I find something, I jump into it. And I was like, you know, I just thought, you're right. The content, you know, that's why they're paying. They're paying people to come put their content there. That's why I was saying, that's why getting into it at first, it might be a little bit weird, but I think you'll still be getting more, like anyone, like you too. You know, I was gonna say you should get start on there, and we can go back and forth on that. And but you can also get paid for watching stuff and voting people up too. So it's kind of like, when you think about it, as the new Facebook, the new Instagram, the new YouTube, where everyone's getting paid for interacting, that's when it's like, you know what? At first, people may hesitate, kind of like you're saying. I was saying a lot of the same things too. I was like, you know, I don't know, but I was like, you know what? That's the best part. It's like same thing as Bitcoin. I mean, if we're like-minded like that, I mean, there you go. That's it. It's the same thing. It's a cryptocurrency, like kind of spawned out, you know, DTube thing. And it was just, it was interesting how you gotta, you know, to open up the DTube, the D sound, you had to open up the Steam It account. And you know, I was all stoked, and then you have to wait 2 days and everything, and kind of bummed me out. And then now it's there again. I'm like, okay, oh yeah, go get back on this. And so yeah, man, I just really, I thought, I was curious what you thought about that, being that you're old school YouTuber too. You know, I don't know, you know, you seem to keep your content really professional and really clean. And oh, and I love your voice, by the way, man. Like you're so like cool, bro. And you know, I wanted to, you know, just give you props, but I just thought, man, for someone like me who's like probably gonna be, you know, totally going against the grain, anarchist style, kind of rubbing everyone the wrong way, you know, just really saying it like it is, I thought I won't last on YouTube like you, man.
Well, you even got to try. There might even be some benefits to getting kicked off YouTube and to even having that story. But I'd say the other thing to work on is I try to make videos every day. When I was blogging or when I was tweeting or whatever, I tried to do that every day. Try to have a rhythm to things. Doing a song a day or a rap a day might be too much, but maybe do a rap a week and really work hard on it, release it every Sunday, make it a thing. And if you stick to a schedule like that, the internet will respect you, because I think everyone on the internet knows how hard it is to even do something like stop eating French fries or drink less coffee or how to quit caffeine. Any of these things, when they see someone changing their life for the better, making a song a week, whatever it is, they get behind that. So what you want to have is a story they can get behind.
Right. I mean, I hear you that on so many levels. That's kind of why I'm so mind blown. That's why I brought this up, because, you know, I thought, you know, I need to talk this to one of these OGs, and you're out of this whole time. And it's weird because I've been trying to reach out to people. I guess I'm not doing a very good job, but you're the first one I'm actually talking with on a show. Like, I thought this would happen sooner, but yeah, like there's so many levels of it all. You know what actually stopped. And that's why I came down from Los Angeles I actually came down to New Mexico to start school. I got into school. I was going to start doing Java programming and all that. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to get into this programming, but I'm not going to go into this boot camp after all. There's too much going on day to day that I just decided I'm just going to be, you know, kind of like, I kind of went from like pro skateboarder, kind of like to rapper, kind of went into like video and website building and stuff. And now I kind of just dropping everything and like turning into this, like trying to be a cryptocurrency expert. And it's funny because I'm like, okay, I right off the bat, you know, I'm new, but at the same time, it's been a long like 10 months or so. You know, it's been exactly about a year since I first heard of a Bitcoin.
Well, they are warning you in the chat. You might not want to drop out of school. Programming can be a very good position. A lot of people are into that. And they also want to know, do you have a rap? Do you have some lyrics ready? even if it's not about Bitcoin.
First
Go
of all,
ahead.
yeah, big. You know, I'm Big Chings. If you look on my Big Ching, you know, if you Google Big Chings, you'll find, you know, you know, I'm on Spotify. I'm on, you know, I got like 5, you know, I got mad raps. I mean, that's the thing. I'm gonna be getting on here rapping all the time. You know, I prefer rapping over a beat. You know, everyone always on the spot rapping. I'm like, yo, I got like 10 albums out. That's the whole thing here. Like, it's time to just like get in everybody's face and pretty much shake their head and say, yo, I'm the shit, dog. Like, you just missed me this last like whole 20 years, yo. And it's just kind of funny, but
all right. And where can people check you out? Where do they go?
Check out the Big Chings. You know, I invented psychedelic rap music and all that. I don't even want to get into that or start rapping or anything. I honestly, if y'all want to check that out, check that out. But what I'll say is check it out. Look for me on Steam It and all that, and look for me on YouTube and Spotify and all that. Big Chings. But the main thing I was going to talk about is as far as cryptocurrency. There's some I've pulled off some crazy things, and I don't, you know, some things I don't even want to talk about. They're just too crazy in crypto. But I was wondering if there's other people that are like trying like everything in crypto. You know what I mean? Because I'm like just jumping into everything, and like it's crazy. I mean, I'm telling you, like winning and losing a lot of money. Like, because I just kind of jumped in and started like putting like $10,000 here, $10,000 there, and I started putting like 10,000, and I even was buying it at 20 grand. At 20 grand, I was like still dumping 10 grand a week, and they're like, and even that, I'll just sit there and I know in a year from now that 20 grand will still be up. So I'm just like, I dumped a lot of shit into this, and I was just thinking if I should put money into this Steam It or start broke, or, you know, people will jock me because I put like a bunch of money on the Steam It or what. But I think it's like you said, the everyone respects, you know, stuff coming out, and I got enough content. I could just sit there and, like you say, just be consistent enough to come drop one a day and not just come drop 100 tracks on everybody. It would be cool. But what I think I need to do is put it together with an angle of a lot of people are trying to learn, and I feel like, I don't know, I gotta fit in somewhere. Get in where you fit in, right? But you know, I'm gonna get in this space. I've been kind of just staying quiet, and I was like, all right, you know what? Let's just see what happens. And you know, here's what the other thing was. I'm trying to start my own cryptocurrency, probably like everyone else, right? But I've been looking at it, and that's why I, you know, started school and everything. I thought, you know what? I'm better off networking. I'm better off just coming at it straight, offering to pay people and just putting the whole thing together, or starting my own team. And like, I feel like I could start one of these ICOs, and I didn't want to talk about it. And I said, you know what? Why not just get out there and talk about it? Maybe a lot of people are trying to do the same thing, and maybe I could just get some people and start, you know, my whole thing, you know, all my coins and everything, and see if make them work. I mean, these things are working, and I'm seeing coins that are, you know, shit coins working, and I'm just thinking, you don't even have to like put like a business behind it. Like, it's okay to just be another Bitcoin, like to just come and have another, you know, thing, and just be like, this is another cryptocurrency. I mean, it doesn't have to take out Bitcoin. Nobody has to be battling, you know, any of that stuff. I think
we'll have to see how that goes, but I'd suggest getting your body of work out there first before you start the next coin. But thanks so much for the call. Give us a call back soon. Let us know what's going on with the Big Chings coin and with the raps. We had a rap in the chat. The guy says, I got a nuclear warhead pointed at your forehead. Got your girl calling my name in bed. I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers, and my floor is so covered with condom wrappers. So there's a lot of that going on. Rap is like Disneyland now. It's just more copy and paste. Old school, it's just laced to waste. I don't think Bitcoin Cash is the best. I think it's the worst. This guy says, I'm out. It's a weird channel. And if you'd like to give us a call at World Crypto Network on Skype, we're still taking calls. How's it going? You're on the air.
Yo, Thomas, this is Gabriel Vincent Moon. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
All right, Gabriel, how's it going? Do you have a question or join the conversation here?
That was so funny. Shouts out to Big Chins. He's like the stereotypical like dude who like just got into crypto, and he's like already starting to like he's like
you can tell that he really means well.
All this different stuff.
He's into mining, he's into trading, he's into rapping,
that
his own coin. He really means well though.
for a blockchain, basically, like beyond Bitcoin, because now it's like literally every single thing you could think of is trying to be put onto the blockchain, right? So do you see like any use for blockchain like beyond Bitcoin?
Well, for me, it always goes back to the core realities of this, that Bitcoin is the token of value that makes the blockchain possible. When you talk about the blockchain, you need someone to secure it. And if it's all your company doing the securing, if it's all Chase Manhattan Bank, or if it's all the Bank of Russia, or whoever it is, and you have control over it and not anyone can mine it, then I don't see it as a real blockchain. And this is where the complexity develops, like we were talking about medical records earlier. The medical records, you likely are going to see a company like Kaiser or a Blue Shield, Blue Cross come in and say, okay, we have our own medical records chain that we use for all of our hospitals, and it's completely incompatible with the Kaiser chain. The real value would be in this public blockchain of medical records, which of course is a security nightmare, because what if they hack your medical records? But that's what Bitcoin does. It's that public blockchain with the shared token of value. So I really find it difficult to believe in other blockchains without a shared token of value.
Right. So it like really comes down to like the governance model, right? And like Bitcoin has such like a weird like confluence of all of these different things that came together, like with Satoshi Nakamoto being anonymous and like all these different things. So it's just really crazy to see like how big of a buzzword blockchain has become. And like it's cool if you want to like go and trade like ICOs and like gamble, like for now that's cool, but like I think you really need to like understand that a lot of this stuff, like it really doesn't have like the value that Bitcoin does. And all of the arguments that I hear like against Bitcoin basically is like oh, the fees are too high, and like that's basically it. That's all I hear. The fees are too high, the transactions are like slow or whatever. But like the most important thing is having like a decentralized governance model, right?
Well, yeah, and Bitcoin has that with the mailing list and with the discussion and the core team, and the way that even if you changed the code in the Bitcoin repository, if you changed it to suddenly give 30% of all Bitcoins to you, someone would find that in the code, the miners would refuse to run it, and then we would go back and, we would figure out a new code repository that hasn't been compromised in that way. So it really is more decentralized.
Like, it's really hard to like explain Bitcoin to people, because I think they really need to like understand like more like ideological values, like libertarian and like anarchist values. Whereas like if you look at Ethereum, it's much more like, oh, we're gonna like save the world with like every solution like ever, and it like doesn't even matter like if you can validate your own transactions. And so I don't know, there's just like so much confusion in the space, and Bitcoin just suffers from being decentralized, and it like cannot market itself almost.
Well, it doesn't have a company. It doesn't have a marketing director. There's no one to market it for us. And it can be very hard to explain. And the main thing I see when you think about Bitcoin, it used to be you could go to Coinbase and just send people to Coinbase and they would come back with Bitcoin. The problem is now you send them to Coinbase, you get these 4 choices. You don't know what any of them are. You know that this one's cheaper. And maybe if you're thinking that way in your head about the multiplier, whatever, I can get more stocks, I'll get more multiplier. Maybe you just buy Bcash, or you buy Litecoin, or whatever's cheapest. And I think that's a real problem when you put them right next to each other like that. And you're like, this one is just like the other ones. And I agree with what you're saying. Bitcoin is so far ahead. It's so much more secure. It's so much more decentralized. It has all these other features. It's already working on a scaling solution, while these other coins, we saw what happened with Ethereum during CryptoKitties week. If that happened every week on Ethereum, there wouldn't be any more ICOs, because their system would be broken every week. And there's not much to stop that from happening.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I don't get about Ethereum, is like it goes down so like consistently, it seems. Like whenever there's an ICO that happens, like the network is down. So how can it possibly have all of this value and like deliver on all of the things that it promises, right?
I think it's going to be very difficult to deliver on all the things they promised. But we've been critical like this of Ethereum the whole time. with the scaling problem, with the ability to print new units. There's no cap on it with the pre-mine that went to the insiders. There's been a lot of questions about Ethereum with the confusing gas system that they use to run the contracts, which a lot of people say was just included to add this legal layer of protection. We're not selling the gas that runs the contract. We're selling the Ethereum that buys the gas, which runs the contract. It's just this layered solution that doesn't really have a technical reason for it existing. So you wonder if perhaps there's a legal reason that it exists.
Yeah, see, I have no idea how Ethereum works exactly with the gas. Like, it's taken me so long to just kind of learn about Bitcoin and the fundamentals of Bitcoin, let alone the technical side of it. So how can you even value any of these other blockchain tokens when you don't even have a reference point? Like,
well, don't forget, a lot of people have found what they call a shortcut to thinking. They just don't think. Right? If you don't think about it and you just think whatever new coin that you found, whatever brought you to the space, that coin is the best. You have a bag full of it. That means it must be the best. And you just go out in the world telling them how great your coin is. That's kind of where we are right now. And it doesn't matter if your coin's an ICO coin or a platform coin or a currency coin or whatever. Everybody's got their own bag and they're all selling it.
Sure. It's just been maddening. Like, you've been in the space way longer than I have. So I'm sure maybe you're used to it now because the coins come and go, it seems.
They really do. And that's what a lot of people have forgotten. They think that these altcoins are going to be around forever, and maybe some of them are, but other ones won't. We used to talk about Mega Coin and World Coin and Feather Coin and Aurora Coin and all of these things forever. And now most of them are gone. If they're being pumped, it's because they're forgotten. So
cool. Yeah. Well, that's basically all I wanted to say. But World Crypto Network is definitely, I think you guys have the best thinking, honestly, because I look around the space and I look for different arguments that people have, and they don't really have arguments against Bitcoin or why a certain coin would be better than Bitcoin. So just, yeah, keep up the good work, I think. And to everyone out there, like, be critical. And if you want to gamble, then that's cool, but like, recognize that like you are gambling with a lot of this stuff, and you're even gambling owning Bitcoin. So
that's definitely true. And thanks so much for the call.
Thank you.
All right. And we did talk a little bit about Ethereum there. If you'd like to explain Ethereum to us, if you have a really good explanation for how the gas works and how the system works, give us a call right now, Skype at World Crypto Network. We'll talk about Ethereum. I'm glad to expand our understanding if the caller and I don't understand it perfectly. We're all trying to understand in this space and just understand things better. So that's fine. Let's see. They're fighting a lot in the chat about Bcash and stuff like that. Sorry about that, everyone. We're still waiting for an answer on why they can just endlessly double the blocks and why that's going to be okay. We've been negative about Ethereum. I'm trying to, not that I've come around, but I'm trying to cover the alts a little bit more because they've become so popular, quite to be transparent about it. And everyone's saying Ethereum's the next big thing, so maybe it is. I'm still not sure about it. I have some questions, and I'd love to hear you, the Ethereum experts, explain it to me in a way that I can learn. Don't explain it over my head, or don't try to confuse me and the audience. We just all want to learn. We want to know what that's about. So let's see. We're going to give Waleed a call. Let's see if he's available. Trying to reach us on Skype. Oh, looks like not available, but maybe he'll call us right back. Anyway, the price of Bitcoin appears to be breaking out. It's 11,024. We've seen some stair-stepping upward green candles. Not sure how long that's going to last. If you look down here at the bottom, we don't have a lot of volume. As compared to the previous swings, we're not seeing any of these really tall volume candles here. So this may be a lack of volume, maybe a Friday afternoon, Friday evening. Everyone's gone out to drinks and dinner. and they're running at the Bitcoin price, but no one knows. These are all up and downs. The Ethereum can be used for trustless contracts, and it's programmer complete. You can make ICOs on there. It's great. Cup and handle incoming, they're saying with the chart reading. Could be good, I think. We'll have to see. They agree the volume is lacking. So one more call.
Incoming. They're saying.
Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network.
Good, I think.
Hi, Thomas.
They agree the volume.
Got to turn your radio down. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Incoming. They're saying. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network.
I love these shows.
They agree the volume.
Got to turn your radio down.
Sorry, man.
No problem. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Al Nixon calling from Spain, Costa del Sol.
I've got to get a map out and start charting on these calls. We're really reaching the world today, huh?
Yeah, man. I've watched you, World Crypto Network. I just wanted to ring in, quick call. I've watched you since the very beginning, since you used to do Google Hangouts with Andreas Antonopoulos and Blake Anderson and all the other people from years gone by, from 2013. 5 years.
Wow, man. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, I watched it right through. Mad Bitcoins, mad Bitcoins.
Yeah, I gotta get my green screen fixed. I gotta bring him back.
Yeah, get the hat back up, get the hat back out.
Yeah.
And the glasses.
So do you have a discussion topic for today? Anything catch your eye?
I'm just enjoying the program, man, listening to all the discussions and listen. I like the way you the frankness of your discussions, and you say what you think and you tell it how it is, and I admire that, and that's why I've stuck with this channel for 5 years.
Well, thank you. We definitely try to do that, and even right now, as we're discussing the Ethereum, we could admit when we're wrong. Maybe we still believe long term we might still be right, but I think it's an honorable thing to change your mind if you're presented with new information. I think that's what people need to do, is interpret the information and choose based on that.
For sure, for sure. And in the last few months, I've got into Ethereum and one or two other coins. I won't call them shit coins because I've only bought the ones that I like the idea of, and I think that I've got a good, they're solving a problem or they're achieving a purpose, and there's an idea behind them, and they don't look like scams, and you do your own research and etc. And then you may buy it a little bit.
Sure. Well, a friend of mine went around just buying everything that was new, and he just put $100 in every new thing, and he's doing really well right now. So when the whole market's going up, it's hard to lose money. Practically anywhere that you put a little bit of money, it's been going up lately. So
yeah, and all these new crypto channels starting on YouTube, brand new. Everybody, it's really easy to make money at the moment.
Oh, sure. Well, and I've seen a lot of channels way more popular than mine. They're talking about the altcoins every day, and this one went up and that one went up, and you should invest in this one. And I've always been pretty careful not trying to give financial advice. I mean, we discuss the charts and things. We give our opinions. But a lot of people recently, they say with this BitConnect thing, they're actually starting to sue some of the YouTubers. So that's very concerning.
Well, you better be careful what you say. I better get off this call before I say something I might get sued for, man.
There it is, talking over the over country lines across the internet. Who knows what they said?
Si, senor. Si, senor. Well, keep up the good work, man. Nice to talk to you.
Thanks so much for the call.
Okay, man. Take care.
Bye-bye. So we had a lot of great calls today from all over the world. He was calling from Spain there. And we had Turkey earlier. Someone in Santa Fe or New Mexico. It's just been great. You put up this old Skype address, World Crypto Network, see what happens. Have you guys got it in it to do another 15 minutes? We have maybe one or two more calls out there. They're still fighting in the chat over Bcash, over whether that's an insult to Bitcoin Cash or whether it's an insult to Bitcoin that Bitcoin Cash tried to steal the names. That's not really cool. So you come into a space and you're like, I'm going to steal your name, and then I'm going to get mad at you for wanting your name to be your name. That's not really right. If you look at all the other coins like Litecoin or Dogecoin or whatever it is, they made up their own name, right? They didn't say I'm Bitcoin Dogecoin and I'm here. They could have, but they didn't. So shout out to Big Chings in the chat. Google Big Chings. He gave us $2. And we've got Al Nixon. Let's see. Al, how's it going? Oh. It's ringing within ringing sounds. I'm hearing a lot of looping ringing here. Not Al is available. All right. Well, someone's going to call us back. Let's see what happens first. If you can't mine it, if it's not crypto. Someone just changed their name to Mad Bitcoins, and they're now calling me Mad Bitcoins Core. That's right. That's the same thing. You can't take someone else's name and then get mad when they give you an abbreviation that denies your ability to take their name. That's what you're really upset about. You're like, we want the name Bitcoin, and we can't have it because we're not Bitcoin. So it's unlikely that the callers would be Bitcoin experts. The callers are just callers. That's they don't have to be experts. You just call the chat. They already asked me about Stellar and Lumens. We're going to put a limit on talking about altcoins once per show. Should check out Big Chings and his raps. Good stuff. And let's see. Maybe one more call here. See if we can fit this in. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network.
Hello, Thomas. How are you?
Hi, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm very happy because I'm talking to you right now, and actually it's my first time talking live. I'm calling from Iraq. I've been living in Buffalo, New York for the last 4 years, and actually I heard about the cryptocurrency and all this stuff, unfortunately, the last 3 months. And my job as a salesman, so I go to a lot of stores. I invite like a lot of people to download Coinbase, and we bought it when it was high, and we lost a lot of money actually. So I don't know what we should do. I mean, just hold it or sell it when it's low. What's gonna happen? I know a lot of people in Iraq. They start selling golds and buy bitcoins because they know something like another war may be coming, and a lot of countries gonna be involved in this war, and I really don't know what I have to say. But what about the market? What about all the stocks when we can buy and sell bitcoins on revenues? I mean, what do you think gonna happen?
Well, I think what's unique about Bitcoin is that you've bought a brand new kind of thing, and that it's not like anything you've ever had before. So that's one reason why I would say it might be a good idea to hold on to it long term to see how it goes. I don't know what kind of investment horizon you had in mind when you did buy, but if you plan to hold it for 6 months or you plan to hold it for a year, if you don't need that money right now, I would stick with the original plan. Right.
Okay. And we was start like to make some money from other sites, like buying from other coins, and then we start buying some tokens and stuff. It's called like Crypterium tokens, and you know what I'm saying. So we are in a big world, and we don't know anything about it. Not just me. Maybe I'm keep watching and learning day after day, but other people, they don't know anything, and they download Coinbase and they bought Bitcoin, and then they start losing money and sell it and buy it back and sell it. And how we can help people?
Well, I think one thing is to remember how early you are to this. If you feel like you have knowledge that no one else has, that just shows that you're an early adopter and that you might have bought something really cool. I don't know about this drop and this downturn, But if you look back at the old chart of Bitcoin, if you had bought the high point at any of the previous highs, all you had to do is wait long enough and it came back up. Now, I agree that's the same thing everyone says right up until the last time. So I don't know if this is the last time, but history has shown that Bitcoin always seems to go back up. The other thing is not to invest more money than you can afford to lose. And if you have, maybe you need to cut back your investment. Otherwise, if it's a safe amount of money, if it's a reasonable amount of money, you're in it for the ride. I look at the downturn and I'm saying, if you didn't see it coming, if you didn't have it, if you weren't ready to sell, then you're in it now. You're in the down, and then you have to wait for the up. So I would just say patience. Learn more about Bitcoin. Learn more about what you've bought, and try to get into hardware wallets and things where you can hold your own keys, like private wallets, and getting the money off the exchange.
Okay. Thank you so much, and you're doing a wonderful job, and I want to thank you again. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for calling. It's exciting to talk to people in Iraq. So
Thank you.
thank you. And just yeah, tell your friends to try out Bitcoin. Tell people how cool it is. Whatever you found exciting about it, share that with other people. They might find that exciting too. And like I said, when we had the caller from Turkey, I'm always so amazed. Europeans and other people in the world speak so many languages and do it so well. I barely know English. So spread the word in your own language. Use your own skills. Got another caller. Caller, you're live on the World Crypto Network.
Hey, Thomas. Jeffrey calling from Montana. Been listening for a little over a year or so. So happy to be calling in. On that last guy in Iraq, man, what a terrible thing. I was buying at 300, 400, 900. I bought at 19,000 as well. And I guess you don't lose money until you sell. But the thing I wanted to talk about that I was really interested in is Bitcoin and Bitcoin maximalism. And I'm curious about your take on, Btrash and Bcash and using that and not using Bitcoin instead, because I recently took a trip to El Salvador and nobody knew Bitcoin. I was like, hey, here's my BitPay card. I'm using Bitcoin. Like, what is Bitcoin? And I'd explain it to them and they say, oh, that's criptomonedas. And so do you think maybe, and I don't know this is controversial, but maybe saying like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Rhodium, which I love, could actually introduce newcomers to Bitcoin and the dividends or forks or whatever and the benefit of holding?
Well, I think a lot of coins have done that. And whether it was through people buying Dogecoin and losing money or people buying Ethereum and making money, you could do that without knowing what Bitcoin is. You could do that just going through the motions, figuring out how to buy the Bitcoin, figuring out how to trade it for the Ethereum, whatever it is. So I do think that anything out there does bring in new people, but it's sad when they come in through a scam. It's sad when people come to you and they say, I lost 90% of my money, but I put the 10% that I have left in Bitcoin, and I think it's going to go different this time. So any news is good news.
No, I get it. We have the ripples out there. I'm not, but we have the MLM schemes and things that have been shut down, and people. There's, I guess, just misinformation on many fronts.
Well, and part of the problem with myself and a lot of the other not even early adopter, but middle adopter or whatever, people that have been in the space a long time, you've seen so many scams. You're so tired by scams. Like when I learned a few days ago that BitConnect had been shut down and they had a centralized website and there was all these other red flags, I wasn't surprised by it because I've been in the space so long. But if you're brand new and BitConnect was your thing and you just lost a lot of money or you told everyone about it, how could you tell? How could you tell the difference between Bitcoin and BitConnect if you bring them down to that same level? And that's where I think a lot of these problems come.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's just it. I got in by a scam too. And so I guess my question is, and the thing is for me, fewer and fewer people know Bitcoin just over the last year. And how do we get people to know Bitcoin is the big dog? And maybe, and this is just food for thought. Something I'm just thinking about a little. Maybe buying into the derivatives aspect, the using hey, this came from Bitcoin, and that's why you want to hold Bitcoin, like Bitcoin Rhodium. Super excited about that. I know you have some commenters on this network who are excited about it as well, and I guess that could be a selling point. Like people want to buy Boeing stock because it has dividends or whatever, and maybe I guess, how do we get people into Bitcoin?
Well, as much as it might hurt, I think they're going to have to come in through these, not even scams, but just come in through these other doors. Maybe they make some money. Maybe they realize their gains. Maybe they don't. Maybe they watch it go back down. Maybe it doesn't even go that far down. But through these other gains, we can only hope that they'll become curious about Bitcoin. It's hard already. Like crypto time moves so quickly. I already feel like I'm selling black and white films to the millennials. And I'm like, you should really try this movie. It's a good old movie, the Bitcoin movie. It's cool. And they're like, no, it doesn't have smart contracts, or it doesn't have the new feature that I'm into. And you just shrug your shoulders and you have to let them go their own way. And if they have to lose 30–40% of their money before they start realizing that there's a difference here and that one of them really is above all the other things. But I think they're going to have to go through the pain to get that.
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these other coins can just be turned off, especially if they're, I'm going to just use centralized banker coin. It's nothing more than a spreadsheet, you know, and somebody can delete that spreadsheet or turn it off. And people don't necessarily realize that. As opposed to Bitcoin, you have all these miners all over the world. You have the developers, you have the arguments, and nobody has control. Nobody can control it. Nobody can take it over, no matter how they try. And how do we? It's just, I guess it's sad to see people. I mean, El Salvador, that's Yerba life country, you know, Ponzi scheme country, and especially you see, as we're growing. I was just listening to Africa, Adam Meister talk with someone on Africa, and you start thinking about those places. You start thinking about how do we don't have to protect people from themselves, because that's their job to protect them from themselves. But I guess you guys are doing a good job informing people, and appreciate it. And maybe
we do the best we can, but even then I feel we've become a little like PBS in this space. We're the old fogies talking about our old fogey Bitcoin coin, and it doesn't go up as fast as the other coins, and it doesn't have all the shiny features. Yeah, I think it's unavoidable. People are going to come into this space on the back of another coin. They're going to think it's the greatest coin. They're going to sell all their friends on it. They make money. They lose money. Maybe in the end, they come back to Bitcoin. The discussion, the argument for me has always been, like Andreas said, that this is, TCP/IP. This is the backbone of the internet. It sends the packets around. It's not very sexy. Not a lot of people know what TCP/IP is or how it works, or that it even had scaling problems, that it even had, you couldn't send a message over the internet. You couldn't send an image or a video or a stream. They had to expand the backbone to allow that. And I think these people are just going to have to lose their money, come back to Bitcoin, and maybe they'll never even know, or they'll never even get it. The space is getting so big.
Well, if people buy Bitcoin now with all these forks, and they just buy and hold, and one of these days, maybe one of these forks will have, I don't know, all the different features people want, so they'll get them in the end. Just be patient. But
well, we are seeing that with Rootstock and Lightning Network being added to Bitcoin. In a lot of ways, when I think about Bitcoin now, if I think about it with the smart contracts added on there, with the layer 2 scaling solution, it's much more exciting. It's much more like software, where multiple things have been grafted together, and then we get the new version and we really get to see how it works now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thanks for the show, man. Thanks for a place for people to just kind of go whenever, you do a good job, man. Look forward to seeing the Mad Bitcoins come back.
Yeah, we got to do that. I've got to figure out how to get the live green screening to work. I think that I haven't tried it in a few years, and the software has gotten a lot better, and I'm hoping it'll work really good now, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, well, it's entertaining, and it's always some nice takes, but keep up the good work, man. Really appreciate it. So
cool. Thanks so much for the call.
Thanks for the call. All right. Take care.
All right. And we're seeing some more talk in the chat. They're saying, don't say that TCP/IP isn't sexy. It's very sexy. And I just want to thank everyone for all your calls and all the thumbs up and the shares. If you'd like to donate, we have a Bitcoin donation address right here. Send us a few bucks. If the Bitcoin fees are too high or you think it's too hard to use, you could always subscribe with Patreon. Just put it right on your credit card. You could subscribe for as low as like $2 a month. Something like that really helps out the show. It helps out when you give us a share. If it's your first time here, please subscribe down below. Sorry we weren't able to do the Bitcoin group for you guys. I like doing that show every week, but I just wasn't able to get it going with the scheduling. So we did this show instead. We're going to do another recap show tomorrow. We're going to replay the week's shows. If you want to hang out and chat with us live, that's a fun show. And then we got the Vortex coming back on Sunday with the Bitcoin news show. Patreon doesn't accept Bitcoin. They thought about it. I don't think they've figured it out yet. And then now I think they have bigger problems with their whole charging fees and stuff. But thanks so much for watching. This has been Bitcoin Talk Show. Until next time, bye-bye.